Sure. So let's get on over to the midday. We got the professor and Adara. Trend to the downside.
Video
everybody.
109.
Wow. Oh, the markets are bleeding down.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as that midday show. Wowzers, we got some red arrows, baby. But that is your girl Adara, and I'm Sharif, and we're gonna wait for everyone to come on over from the other chat. Hello, Andrew Chow. You're in the wrong chat, brother. You gotta go over to the other one. So wait till you're pushed over there. Big style, big smile, big Kyle Burdett. I shared how to do some of my journaling trades with Sharif to share with some of you guys. I'll be getting to that in a hot second. Big smile. Shout out to you. Shout out to Mr. Jonathan. Red droplets of blood, baby. This market is on the way down. Cesar Sandoval as well joining us today. Rob EV and Chucky. We got Monty G and Juan Padilla. We got the gatekeeper. He's holding on to those gates, Adara. We got trading with Nikkei. Trading the Nikkei. Alaric B, Bonzilla, Pattern Day Trader, Fumago, Jose Santos 90, and 1320 Wolf joining us as well as Stephanie D. What's up to you, Steph? And Mr. Ian. And let's flip and go. What kind of a day would it be without Mr. Let's flip and go in the chat?
Because we have to let's flip and go.
Absolutely.
We must flip and go.
Absolutely.
We must do.
Good morning. How are you? How was your long weekend?
My long weekend was all right. I am, here. We are alive. We are ready to make some trades. How was your long weekend, Sharif?
It was good. It was good. Aunt's house in the Keswick area, which is like by the water. So, that's kind of my go-to cottage. Seeing as I don't have my own cottage there. So I kind of used that as my own there, and it was good. You stay in the city?
Yeah, went around a little bit, but mostly just in the city. A little bit of exploring, some adventuring. Burnt my thumb to end the weekend. So nice, fun little tapestry of events as we prepare to do some trading.
Were you one of those people that enjoyed the air show as well and all the ancillary noise that came with it?
I could hear them from my room because I do live very in downtown, so I could hear the boom.
Yes, the F-20.
How was it?
I didn't go. Sadly, I didn't go.
You might.
I kept hearing them, though. Their F-22 just lets you know that it's around, Adara. It's unmistakable for any other airplane. Let's get right to trading, baby, because we've got one hell of a trend on today. I'll just talk about my trade super quick here. Yeah, I took Apple short, right? I mean, that's kind of the go-to move. This thing is down and to the dang right, absolutely respecting the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. No breaches so far, so we're going to base a lot of trades off those today because, well, you'll see in a second why. So I took that short on Apple. I was also able to go long on BOF, another small cap gapper that's showing up here as number 2 in terms of strength on my scanner, 71% in the clear, having done almost 83 million shares. This is not a new one, guys. We had this as a holdover from last week, so it's not a new breakout. $23 million market cap, and the float on this bad boy is 4 1/3 million shares. And one quick drop here, quick name drop here for the NOS boss. Shout out to him and his crew. We'll check out trade ideas to find out what the short float is on BOF. And it's negligible. 0.7% of the float is shorted. Nothing to write home about there. Reason I got in here at 330, that's the volume weighted average price, or was, and we were able to wet our beak super quick on that, but nothing really long term. Anything you want to cover before we drop in the lessons du jour?
Yeah, for sure. I have a couple tickers I'm looking at. I did have a really brief SPY trade, which did not need to be taken. I basically this short at 555. I was watching 555.30s. That was a really interesting area. Should have gotten long then. I ended up shorting when we broke below that. We're staying to 555.30, so risking 10 cents, looking to make at least 20 with that breakdown of 555. Did not work out, got out. Where's the next trade? As Obi says. Shout out to Obi for covering on Friday. But yeah, I'm going to shock you guys by telling you I'm looking at some spready tickers. I know I'm being sarcastic. CrowdStrike. So CrowdStrike day 2 earnings. We know for the last 2 days, I have loved this level at 273.50 and I've traded it effectively. So look at this chip chop, just above that 273.50, and then we quadruple. So if we can reclaim 273.50, I like it as a long. If we reject again, I'll short it, but I want to make sure I'm waiting for my levels to hit. Same with SMCI. I talked a lot about this on, there was a day during which I talked about this. On Friday, I think why the CrowdStrike and Lulu trade worked on Friday was because I had my levels, I waited for them to hit, and then I went at them aggressively. So look what stock is also having some levels coming in, SMCI. Some multi-day levels here for me. I like this on the 3-minute, I like it on the 15. Couple different charts that I like this on. So I want to be aware of that. Also, shout out to Jay Lee in the chat saying, get long stocks out with me. I like that look on stocks out. That is not a stock I feel comfortable trading though, so I will not be joining you. But I wish you the best of luck there. I really liked that 32.30 area. It looks like you got long 32.25, so that's an awesome look. But yeah, SMCI, I'm really looking at 442, 438, 452, 457, 462. Any of those levels of interesting interactions that I see in the book, I am likely to strike and get involved, but we're going to wait till my levels hit. Breathing, staying patient. Boeing trying to retake that 9 EMA here around with that resistance support flip is also of interest to me. So lots of stocks on the radar. We're going to make sure we're waiting for our levels to hit and taking them with a viciousness.
All right. We're talking about trends, guys, and that's the look. We're going to talk about, some very basic concepts of trend today, talking about really, it's not really Dow theory, but we're just going to look at the long-term, the intermediate term, and the short-term trends, talk about some of the details, what to look for, and then we'll get more nuanced with it as we typically do. So let's get right to it. So by the end of the lesson today, we should understand the distinctions between the major trend, or sometimes called the long-term trend, the intermediate or the medium-term trend, or the short-term or near-term trend, all kind of synonyms of one another in the financial markets. They will also learn how these trends interact and influence market behavior. So let's get right down to it. So let's introduce market trends. In technical analysis in general, a trend is a general direction, you're going to have a zig and zag in which a market or a specific asset is moving. Trends are classified based on their duration. All right. So what we were talking about here and understanding these classifications is important for us. So let's get right to them. There are 3 major classes, as we kind of prefaced: the major trend or the long-term trend, the intermediate trend or the medium-term trend, and then the near-term or the short-term trend. Super simple. Let's start with the first one. Here is what they all kind of look like. So basically, this is a look on Apple. Obviously, before that split, this was when it was like at 200 and then dropped to 120. This is prior to split. You can see the major uptrend is up and to the right, but then you do have these intermediate areas where there is a pullback. So this kind of coincides with the Elliott wave theory. It's not exactly the same. You can look to see if you can kind of use them in conjunction with one another, but kind of look at it as a topic de novo today. So the major trend, let's talk about that. So a major trend is the dominant trend in the market, okay, often lasting more than a year. So that's typically the time horizon off which we're basing a major trend, 1 year plus. There are exceptions. What are those exceptions? We'll talk about those in a second, okay? Basically, Dow theory looks at it kind of the same way here. According to Dow theory, a major trend is in effect for longer than a year. The exceptions, though, for some futures markets and commodity markets, which can be 6 months or thereabouts. So in general, when we're talking about a major trend, we're looking at a year plus. We are able to make some adjustments when it comes to the futures or specific commodities, according to Dow theory. All right, and the importance of this obviously can't be understated. Major trends are crucial for long-term investors who aim to align their investments with the broader market direction. So understanding these major trends helps investors obviously avoid getting caught in these short-term fluctuations like we're doing today and maintaining your long-term perspective. So the primary trend, as we kind of just prefaced, you're looking at something well over a year. Over a year. It doesn't have to be, though, 1 year. It can last for multiple years, as you can see here with the SPX, which essentially has had very few pullbacks since the great financial crisis of 2009, obviously, save and except for 2022, when we had a big boy pullback around then. But for the most part, from 2019 to 2022, there were not that many major retracements. I remember there was one in 2018, and you'll be able to see that, 2016, when we had the election, but that was it. And it didn't even break the 200 moving average. So the intermediate trend, exactly what it sounds like, an intermediate trend typically lasts from around 3 weeks to about several months. So you could say 3 to 4 months, maybe even more, okay? And it represents essentially a correction of the major trend. So the intermediate trend, by definition, is a correction of the major trend. So whether the major trend is down or up, the intermediate trend is going to be the opposite of the major trend. That's kind of one thing to keep in mind there. A trend reflects the market's temporary movement against the major trend direction. Its characteristics, if in an upward major trend, the intermediate trend will obviously be will show a temporary decline or sideways movement where the market corrects itself before resuming the upward direction. So I stand corrected here. The intermediate trend can be a pullback or consolidation. All right? It doesn't have to be the opposite of the major trend. It can actually just be a pause in the rise of the price. An example is if the market is in a long-term uptrend, the intermediate trend might represent a correction where the market pauses for a few months before continuing in its upward trajectory. And the role in market analysis here is important because intermediate trends are essential, I would say, for swing traders, the Michael Nosses of the world, right, who focus on capturing these corrective phases within the major trend to get in and get out and obviously make money. So understanding these intermediate trends can also help long-term investors refine their entries. So 2 reasons why we should focus on intermediate trend. 1, if you want to swing trade, fantastic entry and exit opportunities as you can basically look to counteract the major trend. But also, if you're a long-term investor and you want to get in on a name that you've been holding for years, well, what better time than an intermediate pullback, an intermediate trend that pulls back into a key level of support, you buy more, and then you continue on your way with the major trend. So 2 reasons why we should focus on the intermediate trend, swing trading, and entry for long-term positions. And here's what the intermediate trend looks like. You can see up and to the dang right, the major trend goes. However, there is a brief pause here where we didn't actually pull back. We consolidated. We stayed within a range and until we continued and moved up and made new highs. And what you're looking for in this particular instance, especially if it's a consolidation phase, is a break above a key technical resistance level. Typically, when you consolidate on off a major trend, you have, I don't want to say well-established, but established levels of both support and resistance. So what you're looking for here is a decided break through that key area of resistance so you can continue on the way to the major trend. And always keeping in mind that the intermediate trend lasts from about 3 weeks to a few months. So you kind of have an idea of how much to gauge in terms of time. What's going on over there, Katina Man? The Katina Man is $1.50 in the money on NVIDIA. And NVIDIA is bleeding by, let me guess, 110? 110 long? The Katina's what? 109.90. He's long 109.90. This thing just printed 111.15. VWAP is at 112.50. Great trade for the Katina Man. We're going to shut him out and hope he prints up a storm. That's what we need. We need a storm of printing, Adara, like an animation where there's like really thunder cool. And then all these like prints come in on the screen. Like
all of these storms coming out of the printer like thunderbolts.
I love it. All right, sorry, I just got a little creative there. All right, so let's finish the last topic there, the near-term trend. The near-term trend, as you probably guessed, is the shortest of all the trends and typically lasts about 2 or 3 weeks in duration. These trends are often minor fluctuations within the intermediate trend. So there are minor fluctuations within the intermediate trend. Notice how we're basing it off the intermediate trend and not really the long-term trend. They're frequently observed And they're frequently observed by day-to-day market movements. Yeah, sure. Characteristics. The near-term trends can be highly volatile and often influenced by immediate market news, economic data releases, or other short-term factors. It's what we use as day traders to basically base trades. So in a scenario where a major trend is upwards, the intermediate trend is downward, a near-term trend might represent a minor upward move within the intermediate downtrend. So what we're looking at here is fluctuations within the intermediate trend as opposed to fluctuations within the long-term trend. The application, near-term trends are crucial for day traders like myself, Adara, the Katina Man, and everybody at this on this floor here who aim to capitalize on these brief market movements. However, for long-term investors, they look at these near-term, short-term trends as nothing more than noise. So they don't really base anything off it. If they're getting in a position, it's going to be in off the long-term trend or the intermediate trend. Nothing really for long-term investors with these near-term, short-term trends. And here we go. All the aqua little signs over here, these are minor corrections or what we call minor trend corrections or near-term trends. And last but not least, the interaction between the trends. This is important. The interconnected nature of the trends is quite important here. Each trend is part of a larger trend, if you haven't guessed that already. For example, the intermediate trend is a correction within the major trend, and the near-term trend is a fluctuation of the intermediate trend. Its importance in the analysis of these financial markets, it can't be understated. Understanding how these markets interact allows traders and investors to better predict these market movements and make more informed trading decisions. Recognizing the primary trend in the market helps in aligning trading strategies with the broader market direction. And some conclusions and key takeaways here, just as a summary. Major trends represent long-term market direction. Intermediate trends are corrections, and near-term trends, if you look at it that way, are noise. I personally don't feel that way. I think that you can use them for day trading. Key takeaways from this lesson, just keep in mind, align your trading strategy with major trends for long-term success. You'll have a better time at it because long-term trends by definition last longer, so you can ride them for longer. Use intermediate trends to refine your entry and exit points or take swing trades off, and be cautious of the near-term trends that they often represent noise in the broader market context. Adair.
Thank you, Sharif, for delivering that lesson here. I was liking NVIDIA here as we were bouncing off that 110.80s, but I didn't take it because I was like, Adara, this isn't a level that you liked earlier. I liked it on the book, but I said, breathe, wait, watch, learn. Similar look to NVIDIA, though, here was IWM, which is a stock that I would say I trade. I want to say more frequently. I haven't traded in a while, but it's a stock that I'm comfortable trading. Now, I want to address how funky this IWM long kind of looks right now. I got long IWM because I was watching that 215.80 hold. We held it, then we jump up here to 216. Then we make higher low here of 215.85. I still don't get involved because I'm like, oh, Dara, wait, this wasn't really one you were watching. But then I watched it a third time, and that's when I went long here. Still feel like I should have been sticking. I'm trying to be more patient. I don't know if I was necessarily the most patient here as of yet today. Took a little bit more size with this one I have as of yet today, because this is a trade that I really like. If we break above 216, because I watched this 216 rejection, if we break above 216, I'm absolutely adding some shares here. I would like to start piecing out. We might add again here at 216.20s. If we get above here into this chip chop area around 216.50s, that'd be a good look for me. So basically what I'm trying to say is I am trying to make minimum 70 cents. I'm risking 20. I'm risking into that 215.65 area, and I say that because that was an area I liked in the 3-minute chart. I also had a bit of an L here on Boeing. My Boeing trade did not take flight, just like some Boeing planes lately. Yeah, this in retrospect, big yikes. To be fair, this topping deal candle happened after I got out, but I got long because I liked how we were holding 160 in the book. Risked into 70s, did not work out. All good. Where's the next trade? I don't know yet, and I'm trying to be more patient, so I don't really like necessarily the Boeing involvement. We're going to breathe. We're going to wait. We're going to chill. As Drake says on Furthest Things, scheming, plotting, scheming, getting money. So far, no money has been procured yet. But that doesn't mean it can't be. Lulu and CrowdStrike both also still in watch for me with previous days levels. Lulu, hello, weird wicking candle on Lulu. Lulu did reject 256, which was that level I liked from last week. But I still see higher lows here, so I'm going to wait. If we see another higher low, what I might do here is go long. You guys know I have levels I still like. Well, you might not know. I still have levels I like from Lulu. And so a lot of these levels coming back, look where we bounce off of. 215.60, or sorry, 254.60s, which was actually a level I was risking into on that day that I traded that on the Friday. So we're going to be watching that. EWM, I'm having me say ew a little bit here, so I'm going to be getting out of this IWM. Let's see what we do here at 215.70s. How are you doing here, Sharif? What are you
Good. I just took Apple short for a quick 20 pennies, looking to get off the 10 exponential Adara on the 5. Apple finally weaseled its way back into the 10 exponential for the first time in a hot minute. It was the first time this group of candles over here had touched the 10 exponential. Wow, the direction has been aggressive on these Mag 7 names. We haven't touched the 10 exponential until this 11:05 candle since, that 9:30 candle. So aggressive has been the selling, it couldn't even weasel a quick touch. Like it couldn't even cop a feel off that. You know what I mean? Like, hey, no, you couldn't, Adara. It was all the way.
Wow.
It was all the way down. Now it's coming down again. So I'm very interested in getting into Apple again at this level because the weakness is obvious on these Mag 7 names. I was waiting for a 10 exponential retracement. We got one. We took 20 quick pennies, but that's not good enough, quite frankly. So we're gonna have to weasel another way into this trade over here. I just want to see if this candle can make a new low below the prior candle right at 1110. The low of that candle was 224.13. I'm all eyes and ears to see if we can break that low. I'll take it again if we break that low. If we don't, though, we start making new highs, then I'm looking at 225. Reason I'm looking at 225, not because I like the number 25, but you know I do, baby. I like it because that's where that 20 exponential moving average is hanging out on the 5-minute chart or thereabouts, a little bit below 225, say 224.97, whatever, give or take in that area. So I'm looking at these moving averages, and then if we breach the moving averages, I'm all eyes at the volume weighted average price currently at 225.80, but may not be there when we get up. Dan, the dang man Emmons, couldn't even slap that ask. That's funny. Why? Got away from you, Dan? You could, like, I know the Katina man was chasing certain stocks today because they kept moving up and down aggressively. I know, no, sorry, Neil was. Neil was trying to get into a stock. I'm not sure which one. Neil, which one were you chasing? Intel? Who are you chasing today? You were chasing somebody. Intel, AMD. Yeah, they were just too directional to the downside. Now, can you blame the man? So that's the look there. Keeping my eye on these Mag 7 names. Obviously, I see Apple as one of the weakest ones. And the reason is Google. I see Google and Apple as some of the weakest ones. Obviously, Microsoft was a little stronger to start the day. So was Meta. They've both gone red since then. But my initial bias was Apple, very weak, 2% plus right now. And Goggles, 2 2/3. And I have my reservations about Goggles just because of what's happening with search right now. So I kind of expect a little bit of that. What I didn't expect, though, was this just huge market weakness to start the day and a 19,150 touch of there, because that's currently the low of the day on the NQ September contract, which, by the way, you know, we turn over, you know, very soon, a couple of weeks, not this Friday, the Friday following.
Wow, what a market, what a time there. And I think all those switchovers are quite interesting. Happy you got to take a bite of the apple there. So shout out to that. IWM, I am having some feelings about IWM. I know my plan was to risk this at 215.65, but I see some blood here on the horizon for IWM, and I don't think I want to be hustling with that, Russell. So I'm going to get out of this 215.80s. I'm going to lose 5 cents, and I say that because I have to trust myself here. I really, really dislike some of these rejections. You know, we're going to get out at 75. So we lost 10 cents. And I say that because I think if I don't get out now, this thing's going to go. I don't trust the blood in the water here. I hear shark, or maybe I am the shark. I smell some blood in this water. And I say that because I talked about that 215.80 and 215.85 level being pretty interesting here on IWM as support. It can't even hold that as support. So, like, why am I still here? Why do I want that? Okay, let's see if it'll let me sell here. I just want to get out. Anywhere I will be able to get out here because I do not like what I'm seeing here I do not like this Sam I am. I do not like this Sam I Iwim. So getting out there, lost 13 cents. I am aware that was not the move, but I'm just like, I don't trust this. I think if this breaks this level, it's RIP, and I did not want to be there for that. We did have a couple. Yeah, I agree with you, Darius Golden, with IWM looking like NVIDIA. We had a couple super chats that we're going to get to here. So JKL, $4.99 super chat. Here's my theory with the Fed decision coming up later this month. I believe this is your September sell-off, and we rally through the month. Could be a point here, but it's also worth noting JKL 146. We talked earlier today about both Bitcoin and the market having generally weaker Septembers. So that could be the case. It could also just be general some weakness. So that's worth noting. Also, we have Willis Addison with early $2 super chat. Swung 113 NVIDIA puts from 118 on Thursday. Gone fishing. Shout out to you, Willis Addison. Enjoy your fishing. Then we have Kyle Burdett, $10 super chat, taking you, saying, did you say down theory? Get low. So I guess you got low. So now IWM decides to bounce. I will admit, I maybe was a bit speedy getting out of here. I can fully admit that. We are a little bit tired trading brain right now, so I want to wait. Sure, I'm waiting for my setups. I'm ready to strike some trades. Yeah, it is the weakest month.
Like in data.
Yeah,
like the data.
Crypto too. The average, so the median here, Bitcoin in September, second lowest median returns of all the months, and the lowest average return.
Really? In crypto and definitely in the NASDAQ, according to ChatGupt over here. ChatGPT says September has been the weakest month of the NASDAQ as well as for other major U.S. indices the last 55 years, according to this. So that's the look there. If you believe ChatGupt, well, then that's the look there, Dara. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No worries. I appreciate, I'm happy you added that input because I know we were talking about this a little bit earlier in the show as well. Darius Golden saying, by the way, SMCI at a 420 end of day? No, but SMCI is coming. Well, I don't know. It could get to 420. I wasn't trying to say no to you. I apologize. No was a bit aggressive. I just meant like, level I want to talk about. So yeah, I'm not trying to say no to that. But SMCI, we get our first pushback. 442 SMCI. I have lurved this level for multiple days now because it keeps giving me reasons to lurve it. Look at this bounce at 442, Sharif. Like, we get to look at this bottoming tail candle. We were at 441 on the bid but a moment ago. Oh, wow. And then it winds up its hand, and we slap that ask. Now, look at this 443. So if we come back here, we rejected to that previous base of 445.65. I want absolutely all of the smoke. There's no smoke I don't want. I want it as a short. If we reclaim that area, I will go long. But the point I'm trying to make is, SMCI, I know I had some L's last week, but what I really realized is if I hit that stock every time I see it come into levels I like, the second I see it come into levels I like, those would be profitable trades. My issue was I whiffle, I waffle, I hem and I haw, and you don't take advantage of the trades. Like, I took CrowdStrike long at the low of day on Friday that ends up being a 3-point move to the upside, and that's because I had the confidence because I had the levels. So if I have the confidence in the levels, there is absolutely no reason I should not be taking the trade. With that in mind, looks like we don't even want to get back to that level. So, SPCE, you're the place to be. This will be a really, really small position, by the way, guys. Albert's getting to 443.50s because that was a level on the book that I thought was of interest in terms of rejection. Again, we'll wait to see what we do here at 442. But also, if there's any stocks you're looking at, get into that chat. Exclamation point. Join. Space. $, the ticker of your choice. If there's any names you want some confidence in, any names you want to have anybody's take on, get into that chat. Let us know. We do have another 442 bounce off the bid, 442 even flat. So SMCI might not want me to short it. That's cool. I'll wait, see what you do. Waiting for levels, waiting for patience. To answer Darius Golden's question, though, with regards to SMCI 420, I find, Darius, you generally have really solid SMCI levels because sometimes I'll be like, I don't know if it'll get there, and SMCI will get there. So that being said, low of day right now here, 426.87. So 420 would be a little bit removed. If we zoom out here, let's see. I know 418 was really interesting when we had that big quadunk on Wednesday. So 418 would maybe be a little bit more of a level. So you can see kind of these flip and reversals here, 418. That might be more of a level for me. But let's see what SMCI gets, because it doesn't matter what you think. It's always going to be what the mother market will tell you what needs to be happening there. Also, Darius Golden saying with SMCI, you go for base hits and accidentally hit home runs, or you end up striking out. That's what I find for myself anyway. But I think that's a really good analogy. SMCI getting back into that 445. What will you do here, SPCE? Tell me what you want.
Tell me what you want, baby. Want you know? Sorry. Yeah, all right. Well, I'm short Meta. The reason I'm getting short here is because it's at the 20 exponential on the 5. We got a defended 19.2. I looked at Apple, though. I was thinking, I'm like, okay, so Apple looks like it's putting in a bit of a base here. Get short on Apple because there was all sorts of resistance at this $0.50 level, but it didn't put in the new low once I was basically focusing on that. I was looking for the new low below the candle of 11.10. I missed that. That's a mistake on me. I should have been more alive to that fact and had a resting order to take that bad boy short. I don't know, man. I feel like we're probably going to at least touch that 19.150 area, which is the low of the day right now on the NQ. At least a quick touch there. and then maybe defend that area. Maybe we even see 19-1. We'll have to wait and see. But disappointed myself for not having a resting order there through the flat bottom break of 224.20. It had been showing you its propensity to bounce off that area, a bit of a range there, 224.20 to the downside and about 224.50 to the high side. That is obviously before it gave way there. So I should have been more alive to that. I'm short Meta. We're printing 87s here on Meta. I'm waiting to see if I can get printed to the downside. There is a bit of a buyer at 514. We'll have to see if they get taken out or not, but I'm going to pack my patience. I've already put in my stop there. Yeah, the bid keeps dropping, but true to form, Meta, we call it spreada. Not for no reason, baby, because it is actually quite spready. So my suggestion to you, if you're going to trade this, have resting orders at the area where you want to get out, and even be more strategic about it. Perhaps even front run the area by a little bit, because sometimes you can't get filled. So I'm hoping that I don't get triggered with my out before I'm able to wet my beak here, because the spread is awfully wide. I could find myself getting triggered out here and not even really being at that level for all that long. That's how kind of Meta will give you $1 in a second. So I'm alive to the fact that we're at 19.2, and by virtue of the fact that we're at 19.2, we could find a bit of a local bounce here, but we'll see that when we get it or not. And come on, bro, you're printing 65s. There we go, baby. Took 50 pennies just like that on Meta. Give me more. I was about to say something I probably would not.
Give me more.
Yeah. All right, so let's go down. Here we go. All right, we're coming into $1 here on Meta, Adair. We're printing a third of $1. If we can come down into 513s, I'll flatten out here and wet my beak. We're gonna sit at 20s. Why not? What's life without whimsy? And there we go. We're close, and boom! Right away we get printed. Bang! I'm spending the money on this, boy. So starting off the day good here, taking that 20-period exponential rejection on META, printing $1 just like that, baby. So happy with this trade. Disappointed in my Apple miss. I should have been more alive to this trade. This was quite obvious. There was a wick shimmy dance at that 225.5 and an obvious level of support at 224.20 and a fifth, whatever. And I wasn't alive to that. I suck. I'll get better as a trader. What are you looking at?
Yeah, so you know what? I was also having an I suck, moment, as we all do sometimes. I think trading, is pretty fair with that because I was like, why did I get in the ball? Blah, blah, blah. But then IWM breaking below that level I was using as support, 215.65, getting kind of spicy. We're already 10 cents below that. The chances of me getting filled in a short there are pretty low. But yeah, no, we're going to cancel the short. We're not going to get 215.65. If that comes back in and rejects again, I like that as a short. Then you risk it into 215.80s. I am still staring at SMCI. Because Spiky is still, I love that Sharif shout out. It's still really interesting to me here at these levels. And I say that because look at this wick bounce here off 442. 442 has been a level for the past, I don't even know how many days. It's definitely giving you interactions. It's giving you the spice, the, whatever, all the ingredients you need for a trade. But, as I was just going to say, let's see what we do at 445 at SMC. I was like, do you want to see 445? Because I can show you. I'm like, thank you, Spiky. Appreciate it. But 445 long, I don't dislike that idea if it holds. But I need a more realistic area to risk into, so I'm going to be waiting for that. Let's see what we do here on this. Okay, on the 3-minute chart, is there any natural risk areas? That's the thing with SMCI, you always have to risk a little bit more. 444 wasn't bad. Shout out to Jay-Z. 444, you're getting long 445. That's not a bad look. But just as I was like, 445 looks cool, we're having a little bit of some fun spread moments here. Let's wait. Let's figure out what happens. Because I do not mind this area is long. I think I might have missed my opportunity to do that, though. So we'll watch out here. So, guys, I haven't been in any trades in a moment. I'm just trying to wait for my levels to hit for things to set up accordingly. Also, why I don't mind this level is because A, I've watched it break above the book. B, 452 was a level I really liked here for SMCI for the last few days as well. So it gives me a natural risk area. As I speak, we have 445 trying to hold on by its teeth. I don't know why I made that face. Literally trying to hold on by the teeth, by its nail beds, whatever you want to say. We're breaking a little bit lower here in the bid, so I will wait. Patience is a virtue, and I do not think I expressed that virtue too much in my 3 earlier trades today, which would be EUM, Boeing, and the SPY. But EUM, I'm going to pull up here as well. And again, guys, if there's any tickers you're looking at that you're making weird little puns about, or you're like, why are you making puns about my ticker? Whatever ticker you guys like, go in that chat, let us know. ! Join space, $sign ticker.
Bang.
IWM, thank goodness I canceled that sell order, Sharif, for that short, because look what did a bottom tail candle. Mr. Russell. So let's see what we do here. If Russell, again, reclaims the 215.80, I love that area. To me, I find it to be very pivotal. I watched it in the book. There's someone in the chat as well. I think it was Darius saying that NVIDIA and IWM look really similar. I agree, and that was one of my first thoughts I found. And if I just choose a fighter between these two, I'm always going to choose UM just because I feel like I'm more comfortable trading it. I trade it I trade NVIDIA a decent amount too. I think I trade UM more frequently, and I do like the way it moves. I like these ETFs. So let's see what we get here on this Russell 2000. And we just rejected 215.80 again. So this is getting really spicy. I don't have enough confidence in this one either way right now to get involved. And you know, before you get into a trade, you need to make sure you have all of the pieces of evidence there, all of like the lawyers ready to go, your bail clerk, your court clerk, everybody ready for the balance of the evidence before you deliver a verdict on your direction of the trade. I was a little bit hasty with my verdict there. The jury came in a little bit too hot and heavy with some of my earlier trades. So we're going to wait to see what the verdict is before we get back involved. Shout out to the Law & Order sound, and shout out to probably one of my favorite TV franchises. I would say this in a downtrend is 1320 Wolf. Yeah, there are a lot of down, yeah, for sure. I don't know which one you're referring to. It might be IWM, I think definitely has been, which is why I'm a little bit nervous. But if it gets to this level, I am interested. We do have Gaurav saying thoughts on Dell. Looks like an inverse head and shoulder.
Ooh.
So Dell was a day 2 earnings play. Dell was kind of, Dell was a rough one on, as of today. Earnings did okay. I think it chopped a little bit. This actually does look pretty inverse head and shouldery, and I love it because in both, like candle-wise, not quite in line, but these wicks at 1085 are beautiful.
And the downtrend
Shout out to
preceding
Dell
it.
Wick. Massive down. You're right. Massive downtrend. We're down to the day. Sharif's right. We have all of the ingredients required to make a spicy inverse head and shoulders.
I like it.
Pork shoulder. I don't know. But also, this neckline is also cleaner here too, or the armpit, I guess, is cleaner than what we see in a lot of these head and shoulders as well, or inverse head and shoulders with this 1168. So I like that area. There's a lot of play here. Let's see if it can push above the VWAP. VWAP's not always going to be of note, but it can be a really interesting level when it comes to these pattern breaks. If we get that VWAP break with volume, I think that's a good look. If we don't break above VWAP, then I want to see what we do at 1168 or 11168. 11168 was absolutely, in my opinion, a pretty pivotal level here for Dell for that head and shoulders. If it breaks below that area, I think the head and shoulder has been broken, needs to go to the hospital, and it might be a decent short opportunity risking into VWAP. Not advice, just how I would maybe play this, but I know I like my spready tickers, but Dell, not really one of my besties. Boeing's also a little bit spready, and yet I had a bit of a hard time with that one earlier, so we'll see. SMCI, it looks like the long was the right call. Should I have taken it? Definitely. Like, why was I wasting time on anything else? But we'll see what happens here. If we get to 452, which, as I said, is another level I'm obsessed with, some decisions shall be made. Sharif.
Oh, hello. All right, let's talk about. Yeah, no, you're good. I heard somebody call my name in the back. That's why I was not focused.
Oh, that's
a
why
little
you
bit.
said I was.
Yeah. Let's talk about the small cap gappers. I haven't said anything about a small cap gapper.
Oh, dear.
What? Yeah, I know, Adara. I screwed up today. I did. I messed up. SOC is dazzling me right now. This is a beautiful looking small cap gapper. Let me give you the deets while I show you the chart. Okay? So the look on SOC right now is it's up 37.75%. It's not a small capper by definition. It's $1.5 billion market cap. It's traded a decent amount of shares on the day. Not my favorite. About 4.5, a little bit more than 4.5 million shares. It's at the high of day as we speak at $23.25. It has had very few interactions with the 10 exponential moving average on the 5 since basically we opened up today at 9:30. Just have a look at this. The only times we touch it over here were the best entries for this name, in my humble opinion, right around this $22 area. And if you entered there, you're $1.25 in money. Anyway, let me give you more deets on this. The float, it's a bigger company, right? $1.5 billion market cap, about 39.5 million share float. Shout out to the NOS boss and his crew. Let's check SOC. 7.11% of that generally 40 million share float is shorted. So a decent short float, but nothing to write home about. Good look on this one. My move to get in off the moving average. If initially that's the 10 exponential and I get confirmation, getting it on the back end, as my friend Neil likes to say, that's the move. If it comes into the 20, I'm looking at the 20. If it comes into VWAP, I need confirmation that it's going to bounce off one of these before I get in. I will not have a resting order at the levels to shadow the moving averages. I need proof that it's going to bounce. So that's my look on SOC. That's not the only one, though. ASST came into our purview last week. We kind of made a joke that it was like Astis's little sister, ASST, instead of ASTS, right? This one, good move. 2 3/4 high a day. It's hanging out at 2 1/3 right now, a little bit above 2 1/3. Most notably, though, it's holding that 230 area, which is the 20 exponential moving average on the 5. It's up 65%. Here are the details on ASST. Market cap, still small, even with that little pump that we got last week. $7.5 million market cap, 28 1/3 million shares traded on the day, and its float is a sub 1 million share float. I love these because they can really go. 899,000 shares is the float there. And let's look at the short float. 5 3/4, a little bit above 5 3/4 of that float is shorted or borrowed for short. So we got something on the way there. What's up, my man, Adam? 2 quick super chat. Sharif, hope you are well. Just being on a call. Thank you, Adam, for joining us today. Hope that call went well. Hope you're printing up a storm on your day, my man. Can't wait to see you in a hot minute in Toronto. Adam visiting Toronto soon. So, that's the look there. I'm looking at ASST. A great hold up. I'm going to see whether or not the 20 exponential, which is where it's at right now, is the area that I want to get in. There's no other area. Well, no, here. Okay, so this could be setting up for like an inverse head and shoulders because it's coming into that area that we consult the bottom end of the consolidation that we range from 1045 to the breakout at 1150. We had this low right here at around 230. So we'll see if that holds and bounces back up to make the right shoulder. So I'm keeping my eye on that. I already talked about BOF. I had a trade on BOF. Good trade there. Not much else to wax poetic about that. GDC, good looking trade today. It's hanging out at the 10 exponential, but setting up as a possible double top at this 7 1/4. We'll have to see if it can catch its footing or get its footing at this 695, 7 level where the 10 exponential on the 5 is hanging out at. Let me tell you the details, though, on our friend GDC. The details are as follows. It's a $68 million market cap. It's done an anemic amount of shares on the day for something like this. $1.5 million is just not going to cut it. The float on this bad boy is 7.8 million shares. And let's bring down trade ideas and check out the short float on GDC. It is 0.58, negligible, and nothing to write about there. Oh, yeah. Oh, I totally forgot about that, Ram. You'll just have to give me a second. So I'll send it to you, Adira, while I set up.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you there, Ramin and Sharif. Okay, so SPCE. We did not get the 452 as a long or a short. I liked it as a short, wasn't able to get filled, and was like, Adira, every time you wait too aggressively for these or wait for too long, things don't work out. So I was like, you know what, wait till we see what we do at 450. We broke below 450, was still not able to get filled as a short. So a little bit disappointing or unfortunate, bad pun. But let's see what happens here at VWAP. If it bounced at VWAP, you know how much smoke I want? If you guess none, you wouldn't be wrong. Ooh. So we'll wait to see here. I feel like I missed most opportunities here, but I know one way that you can't, it's easy to not miss opportunities. One way that you can see all the opportunities in the market, Sharif, and it's with our pals at Ryan Faluna's group there, Benzinga.
I love it. Are you tired of being late to the traded era? I know I am. Are you always playing catch up in this market? Are you missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? If so, Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. Get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everybody else and pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving. And join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Are you ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? If you are, visit benzinga.com/pro and get yourself that free 14-day trial today. Shout out to the good folks there at Benzinga. And anytime I hear Ryan Faluna's name, I just remember that soca song, Faluma ding, 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 lamia, lamia, ding. Yeah, who knows that song in the chat? Does anybody know it? Because Neil doesn't know it. Neil usually helps me out, but he doesn't know this one. So I've got nobody here, Dare, that can help me out.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. I don't expect everybody to know. But that's the look there. All right, let's have a look at the future. As I suspected, our momentary pause at 19.2 was just that, a momentary pause, and down we go again. We haven't quite breached a low on the day, which is essentially 19.150, a little bit below that, 19.149, 19,149, but we are getting real close to that. The bleeding has not stopped on the NQ. It is down more than the Russell right now. 2 1/3 for the NQ, 2 1/4 for the Russell, as the bleeding on these indices to start the month just continues on and on and on. As we know, and as ChatGPT was just kind enough to tell us, September, the weakest month in these markets. So if you have a bullish long-term view on some of the names that you have, not financial advice, but September, a good a month as any to get in with some of those names. I know we had an opportunity, obviously, in August, seeing with the unwinding of that yen carry trade, we had a much outsized day than we would typically in August. So if you added then, like I did, I'm going to be sitting put until some of those lows from that yen carry trade day, that Black Monday or whatever we're calling it, get breached. So none of those levels have been breached on my account. So I'm going to hold tight. I don't need to add anything right now, but who knows what September brings, baby, because September be a red month, Adara. Anything you're looking at there?
Yeah, I'm involved in SMCI long. I want to talk about this because I know this wasn't a level I necessarily mentioned earlier, but what I've learned is sometimes these stocks can give you different levels. Even the level I went long at Lulu on Friday, and sorry to belabor that trade, but that was by far the best trade I've ever had. And again, I don't mean necessarily P&L, though that was also the case, but it was really in terms of my processes. So again, with Lulu, the level I got long at was not a level I was looking at earlier. But when I watched levels, how it interacted with levels I was looking at earlier, and then how it interacted with that level, I was able to get long there. So with that in mind, I'm going to stop belaboring that point and talk about why I like SPCE here. Why I like SMCI here is because we have that big floosh down here from 452, which was a level I loved. Then look what we do. We make a higher low from that 445. 445 was definitely, in my opinion, a pivotal level for SPCE. We waited there, we paused, and then we either push down here earlier or we break back above it. So I like this support, resistance, support, flippity floppity. I wanted to get involved. We're like 15 pennies out of the money here. Got long 450. Sorry for that sound, guys. We got long 444.60. 446.50. We're risking into 445. So I'm risking about $1.50 here. I'm looking to make minimum $3.50. I want to see what we do here at 450. 450 was, to me, a really interesting level. It's not just the whole dollar level, but there have been some interesting wicks here. My big level, though, my big white whale level, though, as I sometimes call them, is going to be 452. But as I say that, I might have to get out of this here because SPCE looks like it wants to some free fall over here. A little bit of a fall here in super micro. So let's watch out to see what we do as we're trying to push back up here. No, I think we're okay. Let's see what, but I appreciate that. Thank you. Gary's Golden saying, I think you jumped too soon in the long. I might have. That's very fair. Maybe I should have waited, but you have to stand by your conviction. You have to stand by what you like, your confidence. Honestly, as odd as this might sound, because it is SMCI, and it is, as you alluded to there, Darius, not like the most obvious level for a long. There is a chance that this trade could be obviously messy, but this is the trade I feel the best about that I've taken so far today.
Nice.
And I think, like I said, that matters. Like, you have to have confidence to be able to go after what you want. Like, I'll take odd-looking trades or trades that look a little like, if I have confidence in them. In this case, I definitely do. Sometimes the most obvious-looking trades don't feel obvious for you, for your style, for how you trade, for the type of trader you are. That's what I'm trying to realize. Filtering out everything else and focusing on your style, on the stuff you like. And if there's any things you want focused on here by Sean and Neil, with Sharif gesticulating wildly on the green screen there, giving you the news, let us know here in the chat. Exclamation point, join space, $, the ticker of your choice, because we are brought to you by Real Trading, as is this segment. I think it's a great way here so you can look at your ticker so we can give back to our awesome audience, because we are a democratic system and we love the support. We love this community. I'm very grateful for this community, and we want to be able to give back to you here. Let's see what happens here at SMCI. I feel like we're trying to gear up for something higher, but that could be bias as I am involved in the trade. Let's see what happens. We're basically flat on this. Mickey, one of the biggest things I learned yesterday is who's packing your patience. And if there's a stock you have to be patient for, or not yesterday, Friday, sorry, it is the super micro one. So let's see how super this trade is. This just reminded me of something earlier too, because you were saying, Sharif, we don't call Meta Spreada for no reason.
Oh yeah.
I would say most of our names for stocks are pretty accurate, except for the soft one, because it is like one of the largest market cap companies. But shout out to all of these stocks here. I'm going to watch my super micro computer baby, percolate and hopefully gestate into a beautiful trade here. dislike that analogy intensely. How are you doing?
I hope you print up a storm as loud as the thunder was on Friday night, because it awoke me. I don't know about you, but yeah, that was loud. All right, CNFR, one that I failed to mention, one that really did pull back and maybe wasn't worth mentioning after that gnarly retracement off the open there. But this one was all sorts of strong, and it still kind of is strong, guys. 58%. Let's put some respect on its name. It got back above $1 after giving back the dollar level. It's been zigging and zagging with this dollar level. Now we find a crucial area to start the CNFR conversation. And that is its entry, or its move back up, into the volume weighted average price. So the first level I would have said, be aware of is the reclaiming of $1. Well, we've done that. Now we're still below the volume weighted average price. And I have a rule with some of these small cap gappers, which this one certainly is I don't take them long if they're as a breakout trade. I don't take them long as a breakout trade if they're short of the volume weighted average price. Conversely, I don't take them short as a breakdown trade if they're above the volume weighted average price. I have other rules, but that's the one that's applicable at the moment. It's finding a bit of a sell at this $1.11, $1.10, I should say, because it hasn't even made it to $1.11 locally. Now weaseling back into 107. A couple of things you can do here. One, you can look to get short at VWAP for the breakdown into $1, and then maybe take some off the table there and see, does it hold the dollar this time? Well, having a look here at the lows, my inclination is that it does. Well, the low there that we put in at 850, there's the low, there's a trough, a higher trough, a higher trough, a higher trough. Every successive low is higher than its predecessor. That same pattern doesn't obviously hold true with the highs, seeing that we got up into $1.36 and then tanked right back down. But there is something to be had here, whether off $1 or as a VWAP break or a VWAP rejection. Be on the lookout. CNFR, let me give you the details. $12.83 million market cap, about 34.5 million shares traded today, and the float 6.75 million, so quite small, but not the smallest I've ever seen, certainly. And CNFR, let's find out here what the short float is. Negligible. This one also negligible, about 0.5% of said 6.75 million share float is short or borrowed for short. So not much in the way of, possible short squeeze here to the high side. But we do have a decently small float off which we can work that 6.75. So CNFR, Neil, are those pay for, what's the situation on that? Neil's going to check for me. We're going to thank Neil very much for doing that. And we're going to shout out Real Trading, baby, because I'm willing to bet you it's not going to cost me that much money here for 100 shares or 1,000 shares or whatever it's going to be there. So we'll just wait for Neil to give us that, and I'll let you know exactly how much that bad boy is going to cost me. But it's a good look today. CNFR, it's already showing you its propensity here on the 5-minute chart. Now 3 5-minute candles, all of which have rejected off the volume weighted average price. So there's something to that. The other part of the coin is, the other side here, the long side, is that we're putting in successively higher lows. So I'm on the lookout for top break, possibly of VWAP. We'll have to wait and see. The dollar trade complicates things a little bit here, but looks like right now it's defending that 102 area, an area that it had trouble with earlier. So CNFR, Adara, on my watch.
Yeah, so the SMCI, we got out. To be clear, managed it exactly what I wanted to. Got out when it broke below 445. Where's the next trade? I don't know. It's probably not on SPCE for me. But like I said, so you guys haven't been trading much today. There's just not a lot of things coming into levels. And I feel like the timing is not necessarily what I would like it to be. However, as as the spider, waddles down the spout there, shout out to OB, with the spider tiptoeing down the spout. I forget how that nursery rhyme goes. SPY. I had some stuff on SPY earlier. I was watching this book aggressively. Did get short low of day, did not work out, lost a couple pennies, move on. But SMCI, if you are going to get back into that 550, 550 area where I was watching you, I will go after you with the viciousness and aggression that has never before been seen. I'm joking, probably it has been. But I'll be aware of the SPY here. Also, Microsoft, like I said, I've been trying to only trade stocks that I have hard levels on. But Softy has been a little bit on my radar. And I don't want to Bill Gates keep it just for the sake of Bill Gates keeping it, right? If things are coming into levels, Sharif, I still want to take the trade. With that being said, okay, I've definitely missed this here. I looked at all these topping tail candles. I was like, ooh, nice short. And then Microsoft's like, yeah, great short. You're not here for it. So nice move back down here. I like this topping tail area here with some of these wicks into 412.50. That could be interesting. Again, a little bit hard to weasel your way into a trade, to use a Sharifism, until you have those levels. Boeing, though.
Weasel.
They traded earlier. Boeing, to be clear. Okay, but Boeing's going the exact same way I thought it was earlier, which was that 159 or 160, I guess, support to resistance flip. I can't get back in this like long for the same reason in case this goes against me. But one of the things I'm realizing with trading is you can't be afraid of being wrong. So if Boeing decides that it would like to, strike back above that 160, if that's its machination, I'm going to stop making Boeing strike-related puns. But if its machination is to hold on to that 160 level and go longer, I think I'd really like this look. Shout out to all the Boeing machinists here. We'll see how that goes. And also shout out to Christian Bale in The Machinist, which is, of all the Christian Bale transformations, one of the most horrifying. So interesting look here for both Christian Bale in that movie and for Boeing.
Tell him, Adara.
Have you seen what he looks like in that movie? It is horrifying. But let's see what we do here at 160 on Baba. Really? Let's see if Baba Black Sheep will give me a long. We're kind of rejecting this 160. Like I said, we reject 160. I'll go short. I have no directional preconceived notions, except for the fact that we do have a nice sea of green, but I thought we had a sea of green earlier. Let's wait and see what we do here. I'll look for some confluence at the SPY, but as SPY breaks 556, do I want to go short for Boeing here? Not sure. We'll wait, we'll watch, we'll scheme, we'll plot, and hopefully we'll get some money. Long ready saying, Elon, yeah, I'd love to see if these longs are ready. I think we could be long here if we hold 556, but we must hold that level in a pretty salient way. For that to be of interest to me. Let's wait and see what happens here. Apple new low of day, says Jorge Alvarado. I know you were shorting that one earlier. What are you looking at right now? I'm looking at CNFR, but I want to read a couple of things here. Neil, I think you're gonna appreciate this. So the NFL quarterback rankings have come out, and they've come out in tiers. Okay, so you're gonna have certain quarterbacks, tier 1, tier 2. They're not ranking the quarterback per person. So tier 1. There's only one quarterback that makes it into tier 1. Neil, can you guess who? Thank you, of course. Patty Mahomes, obviously. He's the sole quarterback in that tier 1 category. Then there is a bit more crowded of a tier 2. We got Lamar Jackson, which I like. We got Joe Burrow. We got Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. CJ Stroud, Matt Stafford, Josh Allen. I agree with some of those. I don't agree with all of those. I like Joe Burrow. Yeah, go, Neil.
Clearly, you guys all understand that Sharif just read that in the wrong order. So in that tier 2, that was clearly from the lowest in tier 2 to the best in tier 2. That was Josh Allen. I just want to make sure everyone understands
my bad.
that Josh Allen is an absolute beast, and he's going to run things this year.
I hope
as
so.
I dropped him, we do this again. There you go.
Oh, there he is. All right, okay. We'll get that Gronk spike. So that's tier 2, baby. Then tier 3, let's move down. We got to move down a bit. Then this one I kind of agree with. Jordan Love is in tier 3. He got paid, but he's still young, so he needs to prove himself. We got Dak Prescott in tier 3. I agree with this. Justin Herbert, really underperforming given what people were saying he was capable of. We got Caleb Williams. We got Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, and Brock Purdy. I would definitely put Brock Purdy a little higher than that. Put some respect on that 6-foot guy's name, which is not tall for a quarterback. Then tier 4. Trevor Lawrence. Ouch. Tier 4? That's cold. Trevor Lawrence deserves not to be in tier 4. Jared Goff, Geno Smith, that I agree with. Kirk Cousins is perennially underperforming. Kyler Murray, that I all agree with. And then in the tier 5, veterans with questions, Neil, they call this category, which I love. Derek Carr, Deshaun Watson, I do agree with those. Russell Wilson and Baker Mayfield. Deshaun Watson's a make or break year. So we already know that he had issues with that kind of thing. So it's going to be, you do it or you're gone. And then next gen, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, Bo Nix, Bryce Young, and Jaden Daniels in the NFL season. Can't wait for this NFL season to start. Lots of excitement this year, baby. And more international games. So for all my international viewers, you'll have an opportunity, I guess, to watch a real-life NFL game. Not like we have one in Toronto anymore, Dara. They took that from us, so that's not a big deal there. All right, having a look at here at CNFR, the reason I'm still on this bad boy is because it got into the volume-weighted average price and failed to take it. This is kind of what I'm looking for. I don't want to be quick to get in. It could be a quick pullback before it retakes it again. I'm going to have to get it on the back end, as my friend Neil likes to say. Prove to me that you're going to reject that volume weighted average price. Neil was nice enough to get me shorts, and I want to let you guys know that for 100 shares, this thing cost me 63 pennies. Shout out to Real Trading.
Oh, sorry. Shout out to Real Trading indeed. Thank you there for that quarterback rundown. Sharif, and also shout out to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, which is my team in the CFL, because they won against Saskatchewan Rough Riders in their ongoing bowl there over the long weekend. So shout out to the Bombers. Let's go Blue. Also, let's go Boeing. I did get long here. Maybe we should have waited here till 160. I'm going to be honest. This is definitely like a trade review journaling type thing for me to look at. But I like these levels. I said of Dara. You have other things you could risk. Okay, as I speak, Boeing's like, yeah, Dara, I'm going to go against you. Is that cool? I'm like, well, no, not really, Boeing, but it's up to you. And I mean, you know, as long as the plane's not crashing, I'm okay with that. But let's see what we got here in Boeing. If we bounce off 50s, I'll stay. If we get below 50s here, I'll get out. To be clear, the reason I keep going long Boeing, even though it is legally speaking in a downtrend, is because we do have some higher highs attempted to be made here, and we're coming to the key 160 level. I got long 160 earlier. I'm still a little bit conflicted as to whether or not I should have, you know, waited to see what we did around 160 in this case, but we'll wait and see what happens. You can't, like, sometimes you have the right idea for the trade, but you execute it wrong or executed it at the improper time. Let's see what's going on here with Boeing, though, with these bottoming tail candles after bottoming tail candles. To be clear, risking into 159.50. I got long 159.80, so I am risking 30 pennies here. I will be adding if we get nicely above 160, and then I'm going to be aiming for all of these higher lows to be trying to take some profit here, or higher highs, sorry. So one of them is going to be 160.50 or 160.38, 160.50. I'm going to see what we do here, watch these interactions with the book. The other reason I want to get long, because I don't know if I made that super clear, because I was like, Boeing, what are you doing? I got long here because I was seeing higher lows on the book. So I was initially like, hey, maybe we should go short. Higher lows in the book, though, they tell me, Sharif, I should go long because I don't trust my read on the book. Look at Boeing. Okay, trying to, sorry for that aggressive push there of the table. Trying to maybe slap that ask. I liked the little climbs up here on the bid, but now we're getting a little bit lower. We're like 10 cents in the money, so I'm getting a bit excited. This is not a huge position by any means.
Okay.
But, you know, you're not going to have the same quality of winners every day. What I realized with those Lulu trades, like, you know, last week is you could have, like, 6.5 points in the money, or you can just have a couple cents in the money. If you have the format there, if you have, like, the basis for the correct trade, that's what matters. I want to shout out to BPI for hyping me up as well back there earlier. So shout out to you, the Mara man himself. So let's see what's happening here. Okay, Amin Rahman, I like this question here. Why would you go long at Boeing when the short is an institutionally funded candle? I'd go long at Boeing because for me, like I said, I watched it for a really long time, and I have levels on it as a long. To me, the short didn't set up. I like it as a long better. Sometimes, as Kanye and 50 Cent have said, go ahead, switch the style hub. If they hate, let them hate. Watch the money pile up. And by them, I mean the institutions. Not that I'm like bigger than an institution by any means. But if you don't believe in yourself, no one's going to believe in you.
Bang.
Shout out, as I always do, to Chance the Rapper. That lyric, this world will have you second guess your first mind. You must trust your first mind. Trust your instincts within reason. Have a plan if it goes against you. But be prepared to strike. Boeing, if you bounce off 160 here, I will add. Because I like the look here. This one is a bit of a spreadier fellow, so I am comfortable trading it. I'm going to add a few shares here, not as much as my initial position. Let's see what happens. We're still going to risk this into that 159.60s area, so I'm going to raise my stop loss by about 10 cents as we added. Let's go, Sharif.
Let's go, Adira. We hope you print up a storm, goes without saying. Brendo's back. I'm happy about that. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Brendo.
So shout out to Kelly Ortberg in the chat, the Boeing CEO, and this. I believe in you. Thank you, Kelly.
Did you check your DMs, though? Because last time he asked you if you check your DMs, and it's not nice to keep the man waiting, Adira. Like, if it's just going to be, a thing where y'all are just
talk.
Yeah, just let him know. Let him know it's not going to work out, Adira.
I would say Kelly has more to worry about with Boeing. Boeing is like, I think Boeing's a bigger deal than whatever I'm doing over here.
Fair.
To be clear.
Fair. He's got bigger fish to fry, in other words.
Much larger fish. Much larger planes to stop from frying.
Well,
more like.
Yeah, he's trying to get the planes to stop falling from the sky, Adira. You know what I mean? He's leaving people in space. They can't come home. What's going on over there, Kelly? Get it together, brother. So that's a look there. Oh, wow. Okay, Ram said all he thinks about is Adara. So
This is actually
that's
really
Ram
funny.
said.
I love that this has become a running joke.
Why
cool with
not?
it.
Why
You
not?
It's pretty entertaining for me.
So good times. We always have a good time here on the desk. I was able to wet my beak on some profits here on CNFR. So for the moment, it has rejected the volume weighted average price. Again, we're going to shout out Neil. Thank you for getting me those shorts. We're going to hope to see whether there are more trades to be had. And I'm still holding a small piece. I'd like to see if it weasels its way down into $1 and then how it interacts with that dollar. But before we get to that dollar, let me tell you about this 102 level, because there is a lot of interaction at this $1.02 level, more than I typically would have anticipated, seeing its proximity to the dollar and how that should have been really the level. But there is umpteen amount of both buying and selling at this 102 level. Some algo likes $2 right now on CNFR. So here's the initial look. We waffle at 10:30 at 102. We give it up. We come back in, all sorts of rejections here on the 1 minute chart at 102. Finally, we cleared at around 11:45. We cleared by some distance. We get up into that 113. Lo and behold, we come down into 102 yet again, and somebody's buying this there. So that's why I front ran it and got out a little bit in front of 102 with that thinking in mind that there might be this buyer at 102. So I'm all eyes and ears to see exactly how we interact with those two levels, $1.02 and then $1, and then I can make my decision about how we want to take an approach or change the approach to CNFR since we've already in it. So clearly we have an approach. All right, SOC. I was waxing poetic, to use an Adaraism here, about this the strength of the stock and how it hadn't even touched the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart since essentially 10 to 11 today. Well, here you go. You're getting a touch right now at 12:05 today. Right now, it is now touching that 10 exponential. Let's see if it holds up here. If it doesn't, then where are you looking? Are you looking at the 20 exponential moving average, or are we going to wait till VWAP? We'll find out to the answers to those questions and many more when we get back from Neil's lesson of the day.
Welcome to your lesson of the day. This one brought to you by our good friends over there at Moomoo. And if you're looking to maximize your idle cash, for Canadian users, enjoy 6% per annual cash balance up to $10,000 for 60 days, along with 2 months commissions free. You can also earn up to $2,300 in cash rewards when you transfer your portfolio. Both rewards can be enjoyed at the same time. With Moomoo, you'll gain access to comprehensive data on stocks, options, and ETFs, plus take advantage of algo trading, allowing you to create, backtest, and execute your own strategies. Set up instant alerts to trade on your own signals, helping you take your trading game to the next level. Thanks to Moomoo for sponsoring this portion of the show, which, as I said, is our lesson of the day. And when you have a strategy, you want to try to be able to follow. But when is the trend too big? When is the market too weak? Like, it's just, look, at the end of the day, it's pretty obvious things fell apart on the bid very, very quickly. So I can tell you, bar none, with maybe one or two exceptions, I mean, there were a couple of long ideas out there, but most of it was we have big levels and we want to short back into them when the markets were bouncing off of some pretty big ones. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples here. This is NVIDIA, key supported at 117 post earnings. I mean, you had a close at 120. We're looking over under. It dumped right away at the open. AMD, I mean, a clear as day, 149 resistance level set up in there. And looking for pop and fade. It dumped at the open. That's the first candle of the day. Absolutely nasty. Very difficult to find your way into it. And another one that we like for the short, Mara. It was a flat bottom breakdown here at 16.5, but I was actually looking fade back into resistance from Friday. When this is your plan and it goes the direction you want, you know if it's going to trend down, you know you've got to try to get into the short. So there's a few things that you can do in this situation, and all of them involve a little bit of patience. Like, the first instinct is just to hit the bottom. And I know a lot of times you're like, oh, all I got to do is just hit the bottom on this and it'll be absolutely fine. But try to remember, every now and then when you get a flat bottom break, I'm using NVIDIA as an example. I started here for this reason. Like, NVIDIA had, if you go back to like the 27th, there was a gap down. You had this higher low, you had a support level, kind of like this, support before, a little bit of a gap down, not a huge one. And then you had the wick of the bottom and then just rip your face off rally. This is what can happen on any stock, not just NVIDIA, but particularly with NVIDIA. You can get your rip your face off rally when it breaks out that low. And when it continues, you want to be sure it's going to go down. But when it continues like this, it's not the easiest trade to chase. Like, you're dropping $2 right away at the open. Your next candle is consolidating $2 lower with $1 back and forth. Now, what I like to do in this situation is try to find the thing that is following a structure that I can get behind. Now, NVIDIA, when I look back in hindsight, almost right away it's showing you 114, but it's separated from VWAP. It's trying to be more patient than that. I did prefer AMD, so quickly I went over to AMD. This is a drop the open. No VWAP or trace. It starts to set up a 143. You're, again, still scanning. That's the other one that I like there, Mara. That's the other one that I liked. And the difference and the reason why I picked Mara was, okay, this one's still on structure. The way I like to join a trend tends to be reversion back into pre-market lows or VWAP. So the first stock, the first short I have is going to be the first one of the names that I was interested in going short on, which gives me a defined setup. That was a short back into the previous pre-market lows at VWAP. So it's the first thing that I get into. Now here's where I think I made a little bit of a mistake. We're reloading this one off of VWAP. And in that time, in the first half an hour, AMD does provide a setup. And you get anchored to prices. We all get anchored to prices. AMD gives you not necessarily the VWAP or trace, but it shows you a consolidation level. It's not about the price that you want to join the trend. It's about the price that the stock gives you to join the trend. And in this case, the first area of resistance on the way back up was clean. 143.25, 143.25, 143.25. It's not VWAP. It's not a line on a chart. It's where it happens to be. When you're joining a trend, the answer is, do I want to be in a short trend on this stock? If answer yes, I don't have to have this trade, but I do have to have the second time it confirms that level. It runs the low of the day, confirms resistance at that level, and there's an opportunity to get in here as well. Now, when you're anchored to VWAP, what happens is this short is probably at 143 even, VWAP's at 143 half, resistance is in between. Like, it's just the risk to reward's a little bit different because you're away from your comfort zone at VWAP if that's what you like. But it doesn't matter. The stock is telling you there's a different price that you should care about, and that's where the buyers are stopping. There's a line on a chart, and then there's where the buyers or sellers are stopping in a given moment. You know you're looking for a short, but you've got to be able to be a little bit more aggressive when you have that big of a move. Why? Because if we're trend down after a dump like this and don't find a bottom, oftentimes it can be that 2x down day. I mean, right now 2.33% on the NASDAQ when these days fall through. So if you like the short, you've got to be able to get into them. So yeah, we're able to get Micron, but I don't get AMD until it does an easier setup, and I'll say it's an easier setup. It breaks the opening range bottom. There's your resistance at 42. There's your fail break of 42, and we get this one late. That's an easy setup because it's telling me this is where it needs to hold underneath, and if it does, we can dump in. I was in NVIDIA as well, and that was another like early morning bottom, just trying to short the break of the low of the day. That might work, and both those shorts work. But if you love the short, and if you like the short this morning, there's these little spots where they were buying it up, and if you're just watching the tape, and I'm not talking about scanning every single name out there, just the ones that you want. Because I had those three names on my note for shorts. And instead of being short here in NVIDIA and here in NVIDIA and the same thing on AMD, I can tell you exactly what I was doing. I went over and said, okay, well, what is relatively strong? What can I dip by? I was looking for what are the things that are different from the market that I can try to longs in. One of them was Meta, and notice the time that I'm in it. And another one is Microsoft. And what you'll notice about both of those long entries, they're not terrible ideas if the market was going to bounce. They were probably the right two stocks. But if the bias was to the short side and the idea was to short the chips, when I'm getting and finding those longs is the exact time that I need to be aggressively getting that short in AMD. And you'll hear me often, I like the long, I like the short in an individual name, and I don't necessarily care about it. The market's only going to go one way. I don't mind having longs and shorts in any market. I don't mind being in both directions. That's fine. But when you have a big hammer down like we did to start the week, and the trend is looking that big to the downside, and the bid is looking that heavy, oftentimes if 3 out of 4 ideas were to the short or all your ideas were short, and we get that kind of sell action, the priority has to shift to getting a little bit more aggressive with those short entries on AMD and not waiting till late. And getting more aggressive with those short entries on NVIDIA instead of looking for the bounce long. When the move is like this, if we're going to get a V-shaped recovery, there's going to be plenty of longs to be had because we had just gone down so far. But if you like the short and we get a dump off the open, the first instinct should be, where can I join that trend even if it's aggressive? And in those exact moments, it's not a coincidence that right when those chips were setting up those shorts, that's exactly when it looked like the opportunity to catch bids in a few other stocks. It's that fraction of a second where you're looking for something else that's away from your plan instead of joining, okay, maybe not the greatest prices, but joining that short aggressively to the downside. I don't mind going in both directions, but sometimes you get such an extreme move off of the open that you do have to prioritize a side. If we have a sideways open and an inside day, and we're only moving 0.5%, then yeah, of course, look for some longs, look for some shorts, whatever's trending either direction. When we're dumping it like that, sometimes you got to maybe throw away those long ideas because they're relatively strong and focus on those short plays. And it works in either direction. Maybe it had been a strong up day. You want to join those bids. So the lesson of the day is sometimes you need to be a little bit more aggressive in your entries with the trend when you have that big dump and not necessarily ignore the other direction, but prioritize that first move, which did confirm your thesis. Those are the days that can really pay off. You're a fraction of a hair earlier in those shorts. I then don't have, I get 2 shorts that I love that are big, and I wouldn't have ended up in the 2 longs because by the time I would have gone back to look at them, they wouldn't have looked any good anymore, and I would have been prioritizing the shorts. It's always easy to say in hindsight, but that's why we reflect on our trades and we reflect on our day and try to do better the next time. Your lesson of the day, sometimes you got to stick to your guns even more aggressively than you might have thought before the market opened up.
Thank you very much, Neil. Eloquent, informative, and awesome as always. And just as Neil concluded there, I feel like we got a bit of a bounce here in the overall market. The NQ breaking for the first time in a little bit here above the 10 exponential on the 5, and you're getting Apple retake 224, Meta on its way to 514. Likewise with the soft one here. Amazon trying to break above that 20 exponential. But, we've seen this story before today. You're not going to catch me getting awfully bullish on this market until I see much more than what we're seeing so far, but it is a move of note and that we definitely need to cover it. Here comes Tesla back into the volume weighted average price. The soft one coming back into 413.5, which is a 20 exponential. There was a lot of interaction with that level earlier as an area of support, that 413 area. So be on the lookout for a rejection here. Google retracing into the 20. The NQ overall working its way back into 19.2. But you wouldn't know we were getting a bounce if you looked at NVIDIA. NVIDIA very dead at the moment, very subdued in its actions today, given its, obvious the history of how this thing has been moving down and to the right. All the lower highs you want right now, save and except for this outlying area, you have an obvious downward channel. And if I can duplicate this trend line over here, duplicate trend line. Oh, that's a nice little move there. And then you can see kind of like mimicking the highs and the lows with one outlying area over here on NVDA. Lots of weakness. We'll see if we can possibly get a short off some of this midday strength, this 19.2 touch. Look at Meta. Meta looking like the strongest of the bunch right now, coming into the 50 exponential on the 5. No other except Tesla is a little bit higher right now at the volume weighted average price. Tesla is still green on the day, believe it or not, guys. Still up 0.2% with decent amount of shares, 46.5 million shares. Dan the Dang Man Emmons. First, ESF long attempt here, 5575. Stop, 5571. Targeting, 5594, 5601, and 5610. Shout out to you, my man. Dan the Man Emmons looking long over here on the ES. Keep your eyes out on his level. What's your look, Adara? I like those triangles, baby. We're going to have to hit the bangs there.
Thank you. And I think this is this Boeing trade is really, I think, why confidence, why being, or shout out to Darwin in the chat, confidera, why believing in your trade, whatever word name you give it, why that is so important. Because Boeing, initially here, and there were some people in the chat saying this, which I understood completely, that the hesitance, because I did get chopped up in this long earlier. Boeing looks like a short, lower highs, we had lower lows, but I was like, you know what, on the book, the short I didn't set up, I said on the book, this looks to me like a long, get long right before the area you really want to break, so I loved 160s, I got long 159.80, risked into 159.50. Added once we broke above 160, so that was the look. Got out the first piece of this position here at 160.40s. I'm really proud of this area for a B-Quetter. Shout out to this animation, which I feel like we need to use more, because shout out to Fabian and Ramin for everything they do, and that animation is so cute. But I did like this area here, because if you look, this was a little bit of resistance earlier, so I was like, okay, take out some here. Now, where am I waiting now? Well, shout out to Sharif, who said VWAP could be, maybe a potential here on Boeing. I agree. If we don't, there's two levels I like, though, beyond the VWAP, and both of them could potentially come into confluence with VWAP. One of them is going to be here, that 160.90 area, so just shy of 161s. I like that because that wick we had here earlier. So with that pretty, I guess, fake out bottoming tail candle, because we continue to quadunk, if we get above that area, that'll be nice to me. Also, I like what we did here at the top of that candle here, or not the top of the candle, just kind of the candle itself beyond the wick, around that 160-150. So we'll see what happens here. In terms of where my stop is now, in case you're wondering, I'm trying to do prior bar lows, but I'm trying to do the 3-minute candle for that, because I find on the 5-minute, especially with the type of stocks I trade, if you're going to give it to the 5-minute, that's going to be a little bit too much wiggle room. So in this case, we're risking now into 160.50s. That being said, should I get out of the long, whatever happens, the next level I'm going to be watching here on Boeing is 160.20s. Once we got above 160.20s, to make a really obvious pun, it was clear skies ahead for the Kelly Ortberg one. So we'll have to see if there's any Kelly Iceberg orders over here. I made that pun to Sharif off screen, for the interest of transparency.
Good.
But thank you, I appreciate it. We'll see what happens here on Boeing. Ball Black Sheep, have you any resistance at 161? Because if you do, I'll get out there. But if you don't,
uh-oh.
Flying wings. Weirdly, it took us forever to get above 160.60s, so let's see if that flips to support. I am pleased as punch, and I'd also be even more pleased as punch. Hey, we want everybody to like and subscribe so you can support this awesome show. And if you're a subscriber, you know what you can do, Sharif?
What?
You can vote for our audience segment. So get into that chat, !join, space, $, that ticker. Let us know what stocks you're looking at. No matter what it is, we will, if there's enough votes, we will look at it there for you. We have 5 tickers, and, you can vote for mega caps, but we always say, too, sometimes it's a little bit fun. We look at some different stocks, so whatever's moving, if there's enough votes for it, it will be looked at by Sean and Neil, and Sharif will be on the green screen gesticulating wildly. We have had some different tickers. We got Sirius XM one day. We had C-Poop one day. So it is not just mega caps. Make sure you vote for whatever ticker you want to make sure you're represented, because Trader TV Live is a democratic system. And I will stop yapping now.
All right. I want to shout out Darwin. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. All right. Intel has an event, and they just announced this new product. New Core Ultra processors, they claim, deliver breakthrough power efficiency for the AI PC age. You can go and have a read, but it is still based on the x86 architecture. We know the problems that architecture has with power efficiency and how it does with mobile devices. They claim that efficiency has been boosted here. We'll see, because there's a reason why ARM now is outdueling Intel and getting into all the, basically mobile devices like the iPads, the phones, and the laptops, even though obviously the new Windows processor or in Windows systems that are running on ARM, a little glitchy, but that will obviously come with time. So keep your eye out on Intel, still down big on the day, 6 2/3%. Not really finding much of a bounce here, but shout out to Darwin for bringing this to my attention. I do believe they have an event on at the moment. If you're able to find it on YouTube, just let me know.
I couldn't find many details on it.
Yeah.
I looked for it, but I couldn't find much.
This is it right here. This is the look of the new chip. Not like anybody cares, but Jensen's kind of got us used to him pointing out at the chips. Remember when he was
when he was taking it out of the oven?
And he was just like staring at the camera. He's like, that was so funny. Anyway, that's the look there. So Intel, nice little midday headline. I also want to shout out what Adair was saying. The afternoon segment is for the viewers. So, for example, right now, my man there, Vic Yan Novak, he wants to talk about ASTS, as we call it on this desk. Vic, get into the chat and vote for it. My man Darwin, vote for Intel if you want. I saw someone by the last name Aldrin, or first name Aldrin Giller. He says clear skies on PDD. While Neil was dropping hot lines, I was telling Adara that PDD is moving. Get into the chat, my man Aldrin. Vote for PDD. The Katina man and the Neil will look at it. They know PDD quite well. We've been looking at it basically all year because of how counter trend to the Chinese ADRs it has been. Obviously with Temu, big move down, obviously, a few weeks ago when we found out that Walmart was, no, that was JD.com. This was because of a miss here on earnings. 826 was the earnings miss. They dropped from 150 down to 90. They could move back into this area over here at 115. It looks like we have all sorts of resistance at that 115 level. So who knows? Get into the chat and vote for your favorite names every day. Rivian Millionaire talking about Tesla and PDD. Throw it into the chat, my man. Jose Nunez talking about Tesla, move it up. Throw that in the chat. Yeah, so that's just that's the look there. So make sure you're voting for your favorite tickers every day, or I will not gesticulate wildly, and you'll have to miss out on that. So that's the look there.
Who wants to miss out on Sharif gesticulating wildly?
Apparently, Adara, I may have to do it at the big desk today because the green screen may be inoperable.
I think it was
fixed.
fixed.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's fine. Thanks, Ram, for raining on my parade. That's the look there. So that's my job. Oh.
Must rain on parade once a day.
Yes. Yes. I'm still in the short Adara at CNFR. We've been holding this here for a hot minute. I'm not getting out of this because of the reason as follows. It's putting in lower highs. It got into that 112, 113 area, which was the volume weighted average price. That's the last time it's touched it. I've already had my out. I'd rather give this one an opportunity to flat bottom break through $1. It's found umpteen amount of support levels at this 102. Nothing I'm surprised about. Catching a bid now into that 111 area. Let's see if it's able to take VWAP on a closing basis this time. Neil was nice enough to get me shorts. That doesn't mean I can only take it one way. I'll take it long if it breaks above and holds above VWAP. I'm very alive to the fact that it's been putting in higher lows. So if the trend continues to the high side and breaks, I'll get out. There I am. I'm out of this trade now. So now we're going to pack our patience to see if this one holds. The volume weighted average price getting a lot of aggressive bid right now. The volume increasing on this one volume candle that just opened up right now. We already have 250,000 shares traded, and you can kind of compare that to the 3 preceding candles before it. So right now, CNFR breaking through the volume weighted average price. Good look there. There was also another small cap gapper that showed up on my scanner, and that was halted to the downside, ironically. But initially, pardon me?
That's interesting.
Yeah, because it moved up quite aggressively. Then the first halt it catches was a down halt. Let's talk about it. It goes by the ticker TCBP. So let's throw in the ticker there super quick, TCBP. And I'll give you the deets on this one. $4.1 million market cap, 2 and change million shares traded on the day. And the float on this one, 2.2 million shares. So quite small. And let's find out what the short float is on it, if any. TCBP. TCBP. Let's go. Come on now. Negligible, 0.01% according to Trade Ideas. So not much to speak about there. It is below the volume weighted average price at $8. The halt level, when it did down halt, was at 787. So we'll see if you can take 8 on a closing basis again, but I'll keep my eye on this one. But the one I really like right now, CNFR, oh baby, it's catching a bid. Is it time to go long on CNFR? It's up 65, 67%. Bit of a seller showing up here at $1.17. Adara, what are you looking at?
First, I love that beautiful initial short there in CNFR. That's a nice look there. But also, Boeing, I did get out of this trade, got 70 cents in the money there, and got out. So I want to talk about this because thank you, I appreciate it. Because OG, like when I say OG, I don't mean in a good way. Old Adara, and this baby trading Adara would have gotten everything out at 161. It's like, oh, I didn't get. I don't know why I was a Swedish chef. I didn't get out at 161. So like I said, I wanted to wait and see what we did here with that area. We ended up rejecting it. I tried to get out a piece, wasn't able to get filled. So I said, Adara, get out here, do your prior bar low thing. I got out here at 160.65. My average, I think, was 159.94. So yeah, about 70 cents. Not about, though, the P&L. It's about the progress and it's about the learning. That being said, there's a pivotal level coming in here for both Boeing and the SPY. So Boeing, that 160.20s, I said I loved it. I did not go short this right away because we are getting right into the 90 EMA, which is a level I love. And this area to me is so intense. You can see it a bit clearer, I think, on the 3 minutes. So I'll show you this level. I saw it in the book. I can see it in the chart. I want none of the smoke if it doesn't work out. We also have the SPY bouncing off another level I loved that I waxed poetic about, albeit kind of briefly here. It was not like it was a haiku. It wasn't a full, Shakespearean sonnet. But the SPY, 555.30s. It's a huge area. If we break below this, I think there could be a lot of blood in some of these NYSE or S&P 500 names. So I'd be aware of that. We're coming into this. I don't know if I'm going to take any trades right this second because I did not get to, use the washer and get water, etc. because I was busy dealing with Kelly Ortberg there in Boeing. Again, no regrets there. You've got to make those trades. But SPY bouncing off 555.30s, push back. Let's see what we got going on here on these markets, Sharif. Hasn't it been such a wild one?
It has. Hey, what's that one again, Adara? All right, I'm in BOF at the moment, BOF. This one is putting in a rounded bottom. Big spile, you might want to pay attention here, my man. This one, well, let me show you what it looks like on the 5, because the 5 had me getting into this. We're long 49s. We wet our beak at 56s. The next level I'm looking at, 69, okay? Take your pick there for whatever levels you want, but here's what I'm seeing. So we were talking about BOF for a hot minute. It's on the side chart here with the small cap gappers. It breaks VWAP. Not a whole lot of respect today for the volume weighted average price by BOF, but it did respect, for whatever reason, this 315 area. I'm not sure why, but what happened after that 315 double bottom or thereabouts is we put it in incrementally higher lows until we broke the top there. So nicely in the money here as we work up into 363. Let's see if we can continue the bid. So there is a bit of a seller at 64s or thereabouts now being taken out here, or they're gone for whatever reason. Here's 62. Let's see if we can work our way up a little bit more and maybe into the mid 60s. We're looking at a stock that's up 79% on the day, but it is being met with a bit of a sell right now. So we'll keep an eye on BOF here as we're having trouble with 62s. All right, 62 back again on the level 2. Yes, happy with this trade over here. Just allow me to set up my screens on the side. I'm not sure what's going on. There we go. Sorry about that. So happy with this trade on BOF. It's up 81%. Look, this is what I like. I missed the initial entry was 345. You can see that. There was umpteen amount of rejections at 345 between that 315 double bottom and that 345 top. So I got 349. I didn't get the best price, but you know how I do. I need it to prove that it's going to hold that level. And right now I got up top wick. So we'll see if that's going to be top wick or it's just top wick for a minute and then we break that level again. The reason I got out there as opposed to my 369 level that I had originally, I had eyes on this double top on the 1 minute over here from 1040. We got up into 365 and we rejected. So I said, look, man, just wet your beak over here at 365. It's good enough. 365, 369. We'll see what we get and we will not get upset. This one is a strong one. Going to keep my eye on it as well. There's others that are continuing to zig and zag over here. So CNFR, I feel like I had the right idea with the short. We're positive on it still. The other thing, though, is that it's not respecting VWAP. So I'm done using the volume weighted average price as my level here. Why do I say that? Because of the amount of rejections and breakthroughs that it's had at VWAP without really holding up. The only area I see it really holding up at VWAP is this one over here. This little area over here in the midday with the lowest volume. So the trend that seems the most sound to me on CNFR is this higher low. And you really haven't broken this trend line. You could base a lot of it. I know it's an ex post facto look and after the fact look on CNFR, but the fact of the matter is this lower trend line over here is paying dividends. So I'm going to get back in if it touches 105 because that's where the line interacts with right now. CNFR, no slouch, baby, 54%. Put some respect on its name as well as BOF and SOC. Yeah, I know BOF, Katina, man. So I don't make up the tickers, but it's BOFting. Anyway, SOC right now at the 10 exponential. We've been talking about how SOC was so strong. It couldn't even touch a 10 exponential. Now it's just really hugging that 10 EMA on the 5. So not going to really play this one right now. What's the situation with the future? Yeah, we put another high or lower high, excuse me, right now on the NQ September contract as that indice continues to bleed down 2 1/3 even more. It did try to work its way back into 19.2, but it was met yet with another rejection. So we started off the month that's notoriously weak, right, with a weak day. So we'll have to see if that trend continues. But I've just seen seasonality too much now to want to fight against it. So I want to adopt an entirely different philosophy going into next year with respect to seasonality. Hopefully I can follow through. I just don't want to be part of the, the volatility. When I'm at highs and that seasonality hits, when we get those 2 big red days like we got in July, I'm selling, right? And then I'll just buy back at different areas. So that's kind of what I want to see if I can do that next year. We'll have to wait and see if that's practical or it's just, just buy and hold and shut your mouth kind of situation. Yeah,
sounds very violent when you put it like that. Buy, hold, and shut your mouth.
Yeah, you know why? Because everybody wants to complain when their portfolio takes a hit, but
true.
Nobody really wants to listen to you, right? So that's the look there. You want to take over while I prepare for the lesson?
I would love to take over if I may. Yeah, thank you for that. So SPY. I did get long SPY. I did get out SPY. I want to talk about this because I know I got short SPY. My issue the area I liked was that 555.30 breakdown. I spoke about it ad nauseum. You could see it on the chart. You could see it in the book. You could see it. I got short going into that at 555.47s. I risked into 555.65s. We get above, so obviously like 18 pennies. It was really just a level I liked on the prior bar on the 3-minute candle. I get short. Breaks above my level, I get out, no worries. And then SPY's like, oh, Dara, my bad. Now I'll drop. I'm like, cool, SPY. I arguably should have gotten back into this, but I didn't want to get back in just for the sake of getting back in. Because look, SPY still cannot break that 555.30 area. I'll continue watching this book, but there are other stocks that perhaps are a bit more interesting to me. One of them is going to be Boeing, which absolutely gave up every semblance of the ghost here. I mentioned earlier that support that we were sort of holding there at 160.20. Last time I looked at this in the book, it was like 160.40. I turned my head, we're below 160. So RIP Boeing falling like...
Scroll through this.
Falling like some of it, unfortunately, some of it's planes. So let's see what happens there with that strike. But right now, big move to the downside here in the 90 MA and Boeing. Really proud of what I did with this trade. You're happy I got back in after the L in the initial trade. One more stock I'm looking at here is SMCI. So I was talking to Sharif during the break, and I was like, isn't it fun when you get wicked out at the low and then it pushes higher?
I disagree.
That's what happened here in SMCI. I should have definitely gotten back in once I saw these bottoming tail candles form. Happy I attempted the trade. I have zero regrets about that. Shout out to Obi and the no regrets lifestyle. So I liked that, but I definitely should have been more aggressive. That being said, look what level we're approaching once again, 552s. That is a huge level for me on SMCI. I played in one of two ways. I like the idea of a 552 short, but I also am very cognizant of this higher low we're trying to form. So if we come back here to this area around 449s, you're risking to 448s, which was a bit of a level, and you're going for minimum 452, 453, this line over here. That's what I really want to see happen here on SMCI. But it doesn't matter what I want to see happen. It's what the stock gives you. If I get a little bit more strength here in the Qs, I'll get long. But it is worth noting, the Qs near low of days and SMCI making a higher low. Scotia divergence there. But you know what what else is important to understand beyond divergence, beyond what you're seeing in the market and how you can help interpret these better is through trends. Let's talk about some trends.
Trends, I like that. Okay, Dara, we're just introducing the topic today. We're talking about understanding these trends from a very basic perspective. Let's get right to it, and then we'll get more nuance as the weekend next. Come on. So, by the end of this lesson, we should be able to understand the distinctions between the major trend, the intermediate trend, and the near-term trend in financial markets, obviously. We'll also learn how these trends interact and influence market behavior. Let's get right to it. So, as we typically do, let's just introduce the topics. Introduction to market trends in technical analysis, which is what we're using here on the show. A trend is a general direction in which the market or a specific asset, whatever instrument, whatever you're trading, is moving. Trends are classified based on their duration. So it's time here that's instructive. And understanding these classifications is crucial for analyzing the market behavior. So let's talk about those three classifications, baby. The first one, the major trend, as we kind of prefaced there initially, the intermediate trend, second, and then that near-term or short-term trend. You can call them whatever you want. but they are essentially mostly the same thing. And this is kind of what we're looking at here. The big boy move on Apple from whatever $80 it was in 2007 to when it touched 200 in 2008. That's obviously pre-split there. We had a long range of upward moves, but there were these intermediate downtrends, okay? We'll talk about those in a hot minute. Just kind of want to show you what to really expect in terms of what it looks like. So the major trend, let's get right to it. So a major trend is the dominant trend in the market, often lasting more than a year, but can go on for years and years and years, right? It represents the long-term direction of the market, whether it's upward, downward, or sideways. These are all acceptable types of trends. Dow theory classifies them a bit differently than we talk about them right now. So Dow theory, they use different words, but essentially the same thing. According to Dow theory, the major trend is in effect for longer than a year. There are some exceptions to that. Commodities or futures markets, the major trend can be as short as 6 months and then onwards. So typically we're looking for a year onwards, but some instruments like commodities and futures markets, we can drop the time frame for it to about 6 months. Due to shorter time frames, those markets operate in. That's really the reason there. And the importance of major trends cannot be understated. They are crucial for long-term investors who aim to align their investment strategies and philosophies with the broader market direction. Understanding these major trends helps investors avoid getting caught in the short-term fluctuations that the market is always engaged in, and that maintains their long-term perspective on the instrument that they're holding. And this is kind of obviously what the intermediate trend looks like. You'll see on the SPX, we had essentially a raging bull market from the great financial crisis, from the bottoms of 2009. We got a couple of corrections there in 2016, sure, but there wasn't a big boy correction until March of 2020. We all saw what happened there, and then we had almost an entire year of correction in 2022. Given how much we had run up the previous 2 years, who could blame the market? But this is kind of what I showed you this chart for, to say the year window is really the minimum. What we're talking about here is usually a multi-year run-up. So that's why your time horizon shouldn't be, in the 3 months to 6 months. It should be, well, for long-term investors, that is, obviously, it should be in the years. I really want to show this chart because this is the SPX, baby. All right, let's talk about some intermediate trends. An intermediate trend here typically lasts, there's no hard and fast rule, but it typically lasts between 3 weeks to a few months, and it represents corrections within the major trend. Those corrections can take a couple of forms. They can be retracements or consolidation zones. They don't have to be retracements. We can whiffle and waffle sideways, and that could be considered an intermediate trend within a larger uptrend, okay? This trend reflects the market's temporary movement against the major trend direction. The characteristics of an intermediate trend are as follows. In an upward major trend, the intermediate trend, I should say, might show a temporary decline, or again, sideways movement, doesn't have to be a decline, where the market corrects itself, obviously, before resuming that upward move again with the major trend. An example, obviously, is if the market is in a long-term uptrend, the intermediate trend might represent a correction where the market pauses for a few months or so before it continues on its way. And the role of the intermediate trend in market analysis also can't be understated. There's 2 reasons why we should be very attuned to the intermediate trend. One is because swing traders use it. A lot of swing traders, they wait for that pullback, right, in the major trend to get in. The other reason we want to use it is because long-term investors of that instrument want another area to add. And what better area to add is when your stock that you love and you know that it's going to go to $1 zillion retraces in a little bit. So 2 reasons why we look at the intermediate trend: 1 for swing trading, and 2 positioning yourself for those long-term investments. And here's what the intermediate trend looks like. Big boy long-term trend. And then here, I want to show you this because we have a consolidative intermediate trend. It doesn't need to be corrective. It can be consolidative. The near-term trend, lots of disrespect put on the name of near-term trends, but I'm here to tell you that it's absolutely usable. A near-term trend is the shortest of the trend classifications, kind of goes without saying. It typically lasts less than 2 or 3 weeks in duration. The trends are often minor fluctuations of the intermediate trend. and are frequently observed in day-to-day market movements. The characteristics of these near-term trends probably kind of self-explanatory, but they can be highly volatile and often influenced by the immediate market news, economic data releases like non-farm payrolls or whatever other short-term factors influence the day-to-day moves of this market. And its application can't be understated here as well. Near-term trends are crucial for day traders and short-term investors, myself included. Basically, we're aiming to capitalize off these brief market movements. For long-term investors, though, they're just noise. And so long-term investors won't really base much off these near-term, shorter-term trends, but more they'll base it off the long-term and the intermediate term. So for investors and for big money, short-term trends, not that important. Day traders, obviously, it is. Let's talk about the well, first, let me show you what minor trends are like. So we have the big boy, a trend represented in the red. We have the intermediate trend represented by the dark blue, and then the minor or short-term trends represented by the aqua there. And the interaction between these trends also important. The interconnected nature, I should say, between them is important. Each trend is part of a larger trend. For example, the intermediate trend is a correction within the major trend, and then the near-term trend is just a fluctuation of the intermediate trend. So they're all connected, homogenized some way, somehow. And the importance in the analysis here of the near-term trend, understanding how these, interaction between trends, understanding how these trends interact allows traders and investors to better predict market movements and make more informed trading decisions. Recognizing the primary or the major trend in the market helps align your trading strategies with the overall market. And your key takeaways from this lesson should be as follows. Major trends represent the long-term view of the market. Intermediate trends are more corrections, obviously, within the larger trend. And these near-term trends are minor fluctuations of the intermediate-term trend. And you should be basically looking to align your strategy with the major trend if you want long-term success, and use intermediate trends, as we talked about, to refine your entry and exit positions. If you're a long-term investor, obviously, if you're a swing trader, you're using it to actually trade. And be cautious, the book says, of these near-term trends, as they can often represent noise in the broader market. But I would submit to you that day trading absolutely requires these shorter term trends. So have at it as much as you want. Adair?
Yeah, thank you so much to Sharif for that lesson. SMCI, I did get back in this log. I know, Dara, what would the neighbors think? I know, I'm joking. I like this SMCI, though, because initially, so I tried to get involved in this, but first could not get involved. I wanted SMCI long 449s basically around the area I got filled. So the first time I tried there, wasn't able to get filled. And then it dropped, and I was like, okay, cool. Sorry, I'm going to have to get out of this now. So just give me a moment, people. We got out as we get to 448. So I get involved here, got out 448 because that was going to be my stop area because I liked that VWAP, right? But also, I like that level of interaction period. VWAP was like a nice bonus. But the reason, why I thought this was really bullish too is, so I don't get involved. I'm like, oh, let's see what we do here if we break back below. We could not, at that point, I don't even think we broke below 448.50. So I said, Adara, gets back to 449, holds in a way you like, get long, 449s, risking to 448. So I do get long, like how it's going. We get to 448, like 17s, and then we start to do that bid up thing. I like 19s, 21s. I was like, dope. We pushed all the way up here into almost 450s. I was like, awesome. We're going to start taking some profit here at 451. Save a piece for the dream into 453s. Did not work out how I wanted it to. We get back to 450 in the VWAP here. I get out. Happy I attempted the trade, to be clear, because you do miss 100% of the trades you don't make. Shout out to Wayne Gretzky, though. He was not a trader. But it's the same kind of principle, right? It's like if you believe in something, if you have that shot, if you have that opportunity, if it sets up, you have to try to take it. To be clear, I'm happy with both these trades. And I don't mean happy in terms of like emotion. You don't want emotional trading, but I stand by the trades. I stand by the efforts there. And, like I had the right idea in this first trade, maybe not in the second trade, but either way, you can't be afraid to be wrong. That's one thing I'm really noticing. As long as you risk appropriately, the market could be your oyster. Also, yeah, so SPY here at 555 in a really interesting level. Maybe this is the one I should have been looking at here. But the SPY finally has that breakdown at 555.30, and man, does it take its time there. Oh, wow, does it take its time. But if we can hold on to 555, I think this could be an interesting little long here. See what we do at 555.30, 555.50, those levels I liked in the book. I've said this before, I have 2 SPY playbooks. One of them is hold all or breakup or breakouts or breakdowns. The other is taking trades at areas I've previously watched on the book and the tape. That can be on this day, that can be on a wider time frame. But this 555.30, 555.50 area is a level I've watched a lot today. So that is the level with which I will be sticking on this SPY. That being said, these hold all or breakdowns, I don't usually like to take retests of these because I find that's where they get bamboozling in the SPY. We keep holding this 555. I think this could be a bit of a spicy area, so I have my eyes out. Also, I just take a little gander at my side chart, and NVIDIA's like, oh, hey, I might make a higher low. I'm like, dope, NVIDIA. Probably not very likely to trade NVDA here, just because it's not one that I've been kind of charting or looking at to the same extent. Oh!
Uh-oh, you saw something.
I think I did, Sharif. Look at this little hold here. Look at that shelf.
Ooh.
Now, there's a little bit of support that became a little bit of resistance. Look, it's trying to form a support again now. That 110.50 area. I don't dislike this. I would take this with a lot less shares just because this is not a stock I've really looked at prior to this point today. And I'd have to risk like 40 pennies here, that 110.40 or 110.10, because that to me is a little bit of the bottom of this trough. You know what? I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm going to do this. 110.51s. Like I said, I'm really hesitant to take this because it's not necessarily a trade that I planned to the same extent that I was planning. Or when I say plan, I mean like in terms of like levels I was looking at. But I have plans for this trade here. You can get start, I guess, getting out here if you get to 111.30. So risking 40 cents, trying to make minimum 80. That's a risk to reward ratio I like. As I was waffling, NVIDIA breaks up higher, so I just kind of have to let go of that fill because I was waffling for too long. Horrible ego pun. But that's what I'm looking at here. So guys, I haven't been in as many trades. I'm trying to make sure I'm taking calculated entries, working on that a little bit every day. SPY back above 555, so let's see how that shakes out. What are you up to, Sharif?
I'm looking at Mora Adair. It's coming into $15, and this is an interesting swing trade for me. I'm not going to act upon this on a day trade, but I want to bring this to your attention because it's a long-term level on MARA. Now, the winds of change may have come. Who knows? But it's incumbent upon me to tell you about this level. This level goes all the way back to January, okay? So it's been in effect for almost a year now. This is the $15 level on MARA. January, we defend. April, we defend. May, we defend. Black Friday in August, we defend. Subsequent to Black Friday, or whatever we're calling it. Yen carry trade, whatever. All right? This 12th to 15th of August, we defend. We're coming back into that level now. Just putting that out there for y'all. Okay, $15 MARA. Think about it, and I will as well. So that's a look there on Mora. And Mora has gotten shellacked today, 7.5% in the negative. All the miners have been destroyed, as you can see on my chart there. Mora, 7.5. Riot, more than 8.5. Hive, 7 2/3. Clean Spark, oh my God, 14.5% for Clean Spark. This has been, I won't use that word. Hut 8, 7 4/5. So crypto has been destroyed today, and Bitcoin technically only down 1.16%. I know everybody's crypto reset date, or for whatever everybody's date for the percentage on crypto is a little bit different. Mine says 1.16, but obviously the price is the same for all of us. 57.8, a little bit below 57.8 right now. But that was a look on MARA. I just want to point that out. Not a day trade move for me, but I'm going to definitely be looking at the long-term for possible swing on MARA. Now, I want to talk about BOF because I was able to do well on this one, but look at what it did after that. Now, this is the double bottom that we were talking about earlier at 315, 316. Subsequent to that double bottom, what's been the look? Well, it's been very rangy, but there's one thing that's been quite discernible, which is these higher lows. Okay, so even though the double bottom obviously is a reversal pattern and it should be preceded by a down move, which we kind of got a little bit, not in spades on BOF, but a little bit. Now, I got in at 360. I got out, initially at 365, owing to this area resistance level that we put in at 1040. But that sense has been breached because we weaseled our way up into almost $3.71. However, true to form with BOF, we zig, we zag. The range per candle is quite wide. That should factor into your thinking when you get into this trade, because if you're not ready to stomach the range per candle that it's printing on the day, then don't get involved. Now, what I do like is this area of support that it's put in. And now it's a general area. It's not a level. I'm talking about this mid to high 340s. Look at the amount of bounces that we've had at around 344, 345. Initially, we're using it as actual resistance on BOF. We clear it. We get up into that 3 2/3, almost 3 1/4. And now we start using the 3 low 40s as support, because every single one now into the move into the 340s from above has bounced. So this is an interesting area here on BOF. Put some respect on this stock's name. It's up 75%. It's printing big boy volume. 111 million shares traded on the day, and it's generally holding this uptrend line with these wick downs. But the wick downs are finding support in the low 40s, the low 340s. So if you're not inclined to want to use the upper trend line, I would submit to you use the price level. Generally, it's a general level, not a specific price, at those mid to low 340s. And right back above 3.5 we go again, putting in a gnarly little bottoming tail candle here that printed at 1252 on the 1 minute chart. Don't want to put too much stock into that, but that's the look there. So I'm keeping my eye on some of these small cap gappers today, as the Fuge, obviously, and the Mag 7 are in a bit of a holding pattern at the moment. And here's what I mean by that. Sure, the Fuge is continuing to print lower lows, but when you look at the Mag 7s, they're locked in a bit of a range. You can kind of gauge some of the range based on the moving averages, but I don't want to, not every day I have to trade the Mag 7. But I do like this look on Tesla. I'm not going to lie. Look at the interactions Tesla's had with VWAP over here. Right? We get that big boy move initially, 930. Looks like Tesla's going to be the outlier. Everything is selling off. Tesla's going up. Gets into 220. Boom. We go down. We drop all the way to 212.60. We come back up again. Bit of a nice double top there. So Tesla's had a bit of a tough trend. I hope too many people didn't get cut up on that, because that could get a lot of people into trouble, man. That zig and zag right there. But right now, I feel like we've kind of calm down a little bit with the price action on Tesla. Now we're using that volume weighted average price at around 215 3/4 as a bit of a resistance level. Haven't broken through it, Adara, on the afternoon.
No, we have not. And speaking of support resistance levels, guess who's taking their third trade here at the same level of Boeing, but this time as a short? It's me. I'm shorting Boeing 160, and I want to talk about why. So I know I like this level earlier as a long, but we were in a bit of a different place earlier. We didn't have all these topping tail candles, and I hadn't seen I don't know how else to put it, but bizarre interaction with 160.20. You can see this a bit clearer on the 3 minutes. I'm going to show you on the 3, but look here at all these little interactions here. We wick above it, we wick into it. Once we break above it, we pop into it violently, then we reject it. The point I'm trying to make is I think that there is something in the water there at that level. So I've seen those. Sometimes when I identify those levels and I risk into them, then it breaks above and it's like too violent. So I'm going to give this, we're going to see what we do here as we push into 20s, like 17s, 15s, basically. So I'm risking like 15 to 20 pennies. Again, I'm aware that's a bit of a goosier area, but the way that I trade, I find if I have harder risk to reward, things get a little dicier. So that's what I'm trying to do. It's still just being cognizant, but it's really trusting my read on the book. So pun actually not intended with the read on the book. But if we break below 80s here, I am actually going to add to this position. So basically what I'm trying to do here is the inverse of what I did with my my long here heading into the lunch hour. Shout out to Neil's Real Deal. So I got long here 159.80 and then added at 160. That's what I'm going to be doing here for the short. And then we're going to do prior bar low, that type of thing in terms of the stops. Okay, so we're back below 80s. Let's see. Okay, a bit of a retest. See if we can get involved in the 79s. So we're going to add a bit of a larger position than the one I initially had here, but I feel good about this. Let's see what happens here on the Boeing one. In terms of profit taking, I think there's a clear area here, 159.40s. Look at that wick we had into it and all this chip top. I think if we can break below that chip top, I think that's a great area. So I will be getting involved, getting some out there at 159.40s. That is a pretty good risk to reward ratio. That's a little over 3 to 1. We'll see if we get added here. If we don't get added here, that's cool. I'm not going to try to force that. Not sure I'll be able to get my 79s. I should have been more aggressive. And like I said, I still need to experiment more with different order types. That's one thing I'm definitely trying to continue working on as I continue my journey into live trading. I mentioned on Friday, this is actually, that was my 1 year anniversary of being here with Trader TV. So I've been trading, I guess, since last September, so almost about a 1 year as well. Let's see what happens here as we get that fill there on Boeing. So we're going to get, now that we have the amount of shares we would like, we're going to get that profit taker ready.
Get it,
159.41s. Let's see if we get filled. Not sure if we will. We're going to get a third out there. Should we get that fill? See what happens here on Baywing. To be clear, right now, my average is still going to, I know my average is 10 cents lower, but I'm still going to be risking into 160.20s for now, because that's still the area I like. That to me is the clearest area as of right now. But as I said, as we continue to drip to the downside, things will have to change in terms, or should we continue to drip to the downside, things are going to have to change with regards to the stop loss. That's one thing I've really noticed here. One thing I've admitted I'm still working on, especially because I tend to trade spreadier tickers. Shout out to Smiki, shout out to Lulu. You really do have to, I'm trying to work on finding ways to adjust that stop loss as you go, so you protect some of the bag there, because you can get the bag and fumble it, or you can get the bag and flip it and tumble it. Shout out to the Migos featuring Gucci Man. So hopefully this trade will be pretty Gucci. I like the prior bar, usually prior bar low if you're in a long, prior bar high here if you are in a short. So let's see what's going on here in Boeing. But like I said, for the time being, risking into 156.20s. Let's see if we can get take flight here to, well, I guess to the downside, but I don't want to joke about that with Boeing. So let's see what happens here on BA. Also, I said this in the chat, Anthony K agreed. We're thinking about names, right, for the black, so quote unquote Black Monday. I said, what about the yen scary trade?
Oh, I like
things
that.
got kind of scary.
Sure.
If you know what I mean. So I like the yen scary trade. We'll find that out for now. Thank you, Tony Price, for the happy anniversary wishes there. I know you sometimes mention SoFi here, Tony Price. We'll take a quick look at that, because I know that was like weirdly popping a little bit last week. And I say weirdly just because SoFi does not always do those kind of moves. Down right now, 4.44%. Shout out to Jay-Z. Oh, look at that VWAP projection here. No, I know I tried a little bit in the live, but not super comfortable. With that being said, the double top at 774 in confluence with VWAP, not so fine for SoFi. How you doing?
Oh my God. POSOC is moving aggressively over here. Yeah.
That's a good pun.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
Oh.
What? Hold on, what's the fun?
I think you said the POSOC.
No, I meant to say BOF, but I was looking at the wrong one. It was actually SOC that's moving. Yeah. That was actually, good call on that. I didn't even notice that. $24 SOC. This thing's been so dang strong. I haven't been able to weasel into this one, but it has a $24 high day right now. It has been light on volume, and that's really the only thing that's held me back from SOC. Just to remind you again, it's only done about 6 1/5 million shares on the day. It's a $24 name. Finding a bit of resistance now at the whole dollar level at 24 behooves us to do this daily charting. Is this serious? Dang, that's a chart right there. So this looks like a SPAC. So this certainly was a SPAC given the umpteen amount of months that it spent at $10. It looks like it de-SPACed around December of this year, just given the outsized volume, or possibly maybe that was wind of it de-SPACing because it dropped back into 10. So is this still a SPAC or no? No, it's not. So it's de-SPACed. I just don't know when it de-SPACed. In any event, this is the highest it's ever been, SPAC or otherwise, getting a really big move today. This company's called Sable Offshore. And the reason they're moving up are as follows. Shares are trading higher after the company announced that Santa Barbara County acknowledged it lacked jurisdiction over Pacific Pipeline installation of 16 new safety valves, and that the pending lawsuit will be dismissed. Also, the company will restart production in Q24. Looks like they were being sued by Santa Barbara County, but they lacked CEDIS, we call that in law, which is jurisdiction. So this one getting thrown out, we'll have to see if they can reignite the lawsuit under different circumstances. I like it, Adara, yes.
And then I did a bit of a fat finger.
That's all right. So that's the look there. So a bit of this is more than a bit, certainly here. Beautiful look for them on the day. They're printed new highs, so it looks like that 24 not a line in the sand, 24.03. It's about how you weasel into this. And I gotta submit to you, when I saw it do this on the 5-minute, this really consolidative look, hugging the 10 exponential, I thought we were destined for a 20-period touch and maybe even VWAP. So it shows how much I know how some of these stocks trade on the day. But SOC, put some respect on this one's name. Up nicely here, 42.5%. We'll have to weasel into this some way, somehow. Now, let me tell you about this trade that did not go so successfully. Lost 10 pennies on this bad boy right here. OF. So I got into this one successfully initially. Then we were waxing poetic, to use an Adair term, with respect to this 344, 342 area acting as a level of support. Well, you know what? It's just like, Sharif, you know, we're going to have to make you look bad. And that's what it did, because I got in a couple of pennies above the area that I saw as support. And true to form, the small cap gappers are what they are. And they're around for a good time, not a long time. This one dips aggressively below that level. I had to flatten out there. I considered getting back in because it was still above VWAP. But I said, look, you know, we're going to see if we can figure out a bit of a better entry, given that this thing looks like it might be double topping here at around 3 1/3. So give back a little bit here on BOF. That's all right. We'll look for the next trade. And I saw him back there. I'm like, hey, how'd Friday go? He's like, hey, good. You know,
I like you recounting your interaction with
very detailed conversation, Adira, full of yeah. So that's the look there. I don't really have anything on at the moment. Let's flip some of these large caps over here, see what's afoot. So we were talking about Tesla really doing a dance here with the volume weighted average price. It looks like that dance has come to an end, and it may be coming down to 214 and 10 generally. That is the closing print from Friday, not a random area that I put on my chart there. We'll have to see if it finds its footing at around 214. Tesla, the best performing Mag 7 on the day. In fact, the only one that's green right now, up 0.11 barely. You should also know that the only green microchip semiconductor name on my watch list is SMCI, and not by a lot, 1 1/3%. So SPCE, Adira, the only green name in microchip.
Thank you for reminding me about SPCE's existence, because heading into that 442 level A, like, I don't necessarily want to take a third crack at that, but I want to be aware of it. Still in Boeing, but you know, if there's any stocks right now that are making you, that you want to know if they're red or green, or if even if they're just making you feel a little blue, get into that chat. Exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever tickers you're fancying. You want to know why? Because this is an audience segment. We are for the people here at Trader TV Live. So if there's anything you're looking at, we want to know. We want to be able to look at it for you. Maybe it's a small cap. Maybe it's Boeing. Maybe it's Maybelline. Maybe it's CoverGirl. I don't know. I'm joking. Although you could, I guess, vote for Estee Lauder. So shout out. The point I'm trying to make is any ticker that you like, that you're looking at. Actually, Ulta Beauty. If I was going to make a beauty stock pun, would be a better one. Ulta Beauty coming into kind of interesting level too. But regardless, any ticker that you like, in play here. You've got some moves on that. Get your friends wrangled there and vote for them. Look at Ulta coming into 362, which was a bit of a nice little support area before the bounce. Right now, a bit of a quadunk there below the 90 MA. I should address, I am still in Boeing here. And right now, we're just kind of seeing how the plane goes. There's a bit of turbulence. It did not sink the way that I really thought it would here. We're risking now into 160s. I know initially we had the 160.20, but we had a bit more of a drop here. So we're risking to 160s. Basically, we've had a couple tries trying to get back into that 159 mid-80s, 159.90s area, but we have not. Though some of these wicks look like we were into 180s. I was watching, I never saw a 180 hold, so we're going to have to see what happens here. Looks like we're kind of doing a bit of a bamboozling thing here, Sharif, because we've got all these topping tail candles, especially if you're looking at it here on the 3 minute, which is what I use again for my prior bar lows. But on the 5, we're holding the support oddly nicely here at 159.60. Bit of a bullish engulfing, so we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Following my exit rules, which, as I said, I'm still trying to develop. Let's see here, because this is a bit of a bamboozler with all of these very bearish-looking topping tail candles and this nice little hold of 159.60. We'll find out what happens next here. Still like my area as of right now for my exit. No reason to leave, so trying to stay calm. Pack my patience in my Samsonite so I can get on that flight to the upside. Again, guys, make sure you vote for your tickers, please, and thank you. Need NVIDIA to rip, says Milky Way. Yeah, let's find out what Milky Way NVIDIA is going over here right now. NVIDIA, I don't know if I don't think I mentioned this trade. That wasn't an intentional omission. I just forgot. But this thing's ranging, Sharif.
I know.
NVIDIA
it has been
110.10 base, high here about 110.70. I might have an eye on it, but like I said, there's stocks that I'm happy I tried this initial long. Tried it here when we made a slightly higher base here on the book at that 110.60s. Risk about 30 pennies did not work out, but we'll see what happens here next on NVIDIA. If it wants to range, by all means, I'll play a range trade, but I'm trying to focus more. You can't trade every single stock in the market. You have to focus on the stocks that are speaking to you here. Boeing, if you get above 160, I will have to bid adieu to get off this flight early. No connecting flight for my trade, though I did have a fuller itinerary plan to the downside. might not work out how you want it to, but that's the thing. You can't be afraid to be wrong. That's something I'm definitely learning. So let's see what happens here on BA as we try to push here into 160s. We're gonna have to we're gonna have to get out here of this Boeing. But I'm really happy I attempted this trade. You know, that's the thing too, is if you've got levels on stuff, whether you take it to the long side or the short side, take your attempts, make your moves, got out where I wanted to at that 160s. Let's see what we do at 160.20. I'm okay with taking another stab at this if my levels keep hitting. It's about how you execute. It's about keeping going on as the market keeps doing interesting things. Higher low here for SPCE. What isn't there to talk about? Honestly, there's so many things in this market. 1:08 p.m. So I guess we'll do the lesson a little bit late. So
Yeah,
wait
we're
a little
good,
bit for that lesson, but I'm trying to keep aware of everything. Zup28 saying the market should pump into the meeting, but who knows? I'm guessing you mean the FOMC meeting.
Yeah.
We'll find out, because I feel like last time we had the meeting, I remember that was
Is it Wednesday?
It is. The meeting's usually on Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we had the meeting. Then we didn't have October. We had Downtober. I remember NVIDIA was below 400. It was the first time I'd ever seen it there at the time. And I was like, oh, NVIDIA can be below 400? Little naive, Adara.
We're a month away from that.
We're so close to October.
Doesn't it feel like we were using that like a couple of months ago?
Right? Time. I was not even like consistently on this desk at that time, Sharif.
No, yeah,
really
it was
flies.
you and Obe.
Yeah,
like
we were
you would come on for a
switching.
bit. Obe would come on for a bit.
What an era. Do you have any Halloween costume ideas?
I don't, not this year, but maybe, I don't know, if something presents itself that's comical, we'll do it. I want to dress up as the Cowboys last year, but I remember I got sick, so I didn't actually wear my my helmet. I've been wanting to wear that helmet, my shoulder pads, for a hot minute. And shout out, obviously, to, I forget his name. What's the Cowboys fan that used to be in the chat? Playmaker, thank you. Obviously, he's no longer with us, but he sent me a couple of jerseys there that I wanted to wear. Micah Parsons and one with my name.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So definitely maybe I can do that this year. Actually, if the Cowboys are any good, we'll find out. BAC. I see you guys talking about BAC there. And I want to tell you guys that this one had a headline today. Uncle Warren selling more. Bank of America. Let me just bring in the little headline over here. I don't think I've got it anymore. There it is. So there's more Uncle Warren cutting here. So shares of Bank of America were down. Now they're up decent. Well, no, they're still down 1/5. Billionaire Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway disclosed late on Friday that it sold another 21.1 million shares of the second largest U.S. bank. The latest sale, worth more than $845 million, takes the total tally from a string of stake cuts that began essentially in July to over $6 billion. How he's removed from Bank of America. Berkshire has its highest ever holdings of cash, more than $275 billion right now being held in cash by BRK or BRKA or BRKB. Yeah, I think they're both the same, aren't they? BRKA and BRKB.
Yep.
Well, I don't think they're the same price, but let's find out what this one is there. Dara? BRKA, Dara, is not showing me a price, but in any event, we won't go down that road. But that's a look there. So BAC on watch, but this is the one that I want to talk about here, because this is the one that small cap gapper that's showing up on my midday chart here. So TCBP doing quite well. A lot of range per candle, so you're going to have to be ready for this one to be super choppy. I gave you the deets on this earlier, but I give it to you again. It's traded about 3 million shares, which has me a little suspicious, seeing that it's $8, $4.4 million market cap, and the float is about 2.2 million shares. It did have a whole lot of resistance at 8. Okay. What I do like about this is the higher lows that it's been sequentially putting in. What I don't like about this is the range per candle. It's awfully rangy, and so you're going to have to factor that in. There is a whole lot of resistance at 8. Now, let's see if it acts as support. So basically, since we flushed at around 12:15, we haven't been able to take 8 on a decisive basis. That all changed at 105 once we weaseled our way up into 870. Now we're using 8, funny enough, as support. Let's see if that hangs on, if we continue to do that. This is awfully spready. I don't even have the book up, but I can tell you it's a 44 penny spread on an $8 name. Yeah, that's the look there. So if you trade small caps, your desire is obviously have a very tight spread. So the cost of doing business, getting in, getting out of positions doesn't cost you 44 pennies now, tightening up a bit to 9 pennies right now on TCBP. It's an interesting one here. It's defending the volume weighted average price, which is essentially at $8. Let's load up this bad boy on the trading screen. Do we have it already? No, we don't. So let me take off. PDD's just going, bro. And some of these Chinese ADRs are strong. NEO's up and XPEV is up. Li Auto's not. So I just want to let everybody know that there is some strength right now in these Chinese ADRs that I saw on my side chart. So here's TCBP coming back into the 8. The 8 level, again, very interesting for me. Let's see if it holds up at around 8. I don't need to be first to the party, but I know for certain that it's putting in these higher lows. Where to get it in, you're going to have to be a bit selective. I'm going to go ahead and hang out at 801. Okay, we're going to give this one the old college try. Looks like we are printing 801s on the bid, but the ask is at 822. So we won't get printed unless it really flushes here. And you know what? Upon further inspection, I'm not trading this stock. That's 13 penny spread on an $8 name. I don't think that that's right. Like whether I like the 8 level or not, it's just, to me, not wise on an $8 name to trade one with a 13 penny spread that's not setting up perfectly. So right now, this one is not a perfect setup for me. I'm staying away. ASST is giving up the ghost here in small cap world. This was a holdover from last week. It was awfully strong to start the day. Very counter market move. This thing was going up into the right while the market was going down to the right. That is, of course, until it came into that 2 3/4 level. Then everything changed. Can't break through that 274. There was many sellers around there. You had a triple top on the 5-minute, and then that's as good as we could do on the day. And then we've been stair-stepping down, breaking through the volume weighted average price, breaking through $2. Now it looks like, we may be headed back to break even. Break even takes us back to $1.42. We're printing $1.93 right now. All sorts of weakness here on ASST. And just to remind you that this bad boy is from last week. Look at this big boy move here. This ain't no joke. So this one from the pre-market to the high of the day there, this thing was up 112%. It was a triple-digit winner, and it's been giving up the ghost since then, Adara. So we're going to have to keep an eye on ASST.
Yeah, I've just been watching the book here on SMCI. This one continues to be a bamboozler. I liked it because it's kind of coming into my levels here, 445, 442. I will not be trading this unless something is like crazy, like screaming at me like, Adara, get involved. But right now, I don't know why it would sing to me, but it could. Who knows? But right now, we're just watching. We're just waiting here. SPY, I also have some levels on, but I have not really been compelled the way that it's moving to get involved in any of those levels at this time. As I said, 555, 555, 30, 555, 50 are my levels on the SPY, so we'll see what happens there. In terms of SMCI, though, 442 and 445, again, both levels I like. 442 multiple day. 445, though, we had this little area of support trying to form to resistance, so this could actually be really interesting. That being said, in the book, it's actually holding this 444 quite well. What I'd like to see is us attempt to peek our head while I'm watching at that. You've got to do it in front of me, SMCI, or I don't know. We're going to be spread watching here, which is a phrase I accidentally said that I'm not just owning, because you got to own stuff. We'll see if we'll watch what the spread does here as we head into 445. I would take a really small position risk into 446 should I do this, but I'm not rushing into it. Like I said, I just think these levels are really clean, and if I like it, who am I to not try that? I think. So we'll see here. 444.21 weirdly was when we started the bid creep last time I was watching. When I say bid creep, I mean we've got these orders creeping up cents at a time on the bid. As I've mentioned before, this is a pattern I tend to find very, very bullish on stocks. It also is bullish if you have a creep up on the ask, but I find the bid creep to be a little bit more compelling. But you know what else is compelling? Or what we'd like to compel you to do is to vote. So make sure you are a subscriber, because we have a subscriber-only chat. But if you are a subscriber and you're like, hey, why haven't Neil and Sean talked about Mara? Well, actually, no, I know Neil was trading Mara. Neil was also trading Unity. If you're like, hey, what happened to you? There's no we without you and I. Shout out to Jeremiah. What if there's some other stocks that you want to know what they were going on with them and you want to have Neil and Sean talk about it? Guys, get into that here chat. Exclamation point. Join. Space. $. Let us know. Really interesting action here happening at 444 on the super micro one. So let's see if we can get a super move down here. Like I said, also, I mean, to be fair, this is a higher low here, which is why I'm not rushing into the 442 level. But if we break below 442, decent resistance for a short. We're going to be watching levels. Sorry, guys, I'm not in any trades right now. You're going to wait for the opportunities that set up that strike you as the most interesting. So SMCI is one. The other one that I know I said I was going to be ignoring, but I haven't been, is NVIDIA, as it sort of attempts to range, question mark. If we can bounce here off 110.10s, that could be a decent look. But I mean, it's hard to be bullish on things when you've got the Qs pushing into low of days. SPY trying to push a little bit lower here as well. So what a market we've got over here. SPY like 10 cents away from its low of days, Sharif. Exciting times. We are going to do our last lesson soon, so just going to be seeing if there's anything setting up before we do some more learning. You know what else had a nice recovery that I tried to get involved in and then just was like, you know, didn't have any levels that were screaming to me at the time?
What?
Bowing, that 160.20 level, as I said, I found to be really compelling support resistance on multiple levels. And so that's an interesting level. But the other level I find interesting about Boeing that we seem to have rejected here is 160.60s. Let's see what's going on here on the Boeing one. Let's find out what happens on these markets. I'm just looking at everything here. IWM also had a beautiful headbutt with the 90 MA before pushing lower. Just a lot of weakness here. This is a little bit hard to find ways into. CrowdStrike also, though I thought CrowdStrike has been doing this at least 4 times now, and none of the times it has been doing what I thought it was. CrowdStrike trying to turn here. Look at all of the support with these bottoming tail candles.
Oh.
I thought, to be clear, there were other times I thought CrowdStrike was going to turn. But to me, I think if CrowdStrike decides to turn, this would be the place it does it. Let's see what it does if it breaks into 267.80. I think it could be a decent look. The other way you view this is a flat bottom break. But to be clear, we have been breaking every bottom hither, yon, and dale thus far on CrowdStrike. So really, what are the opportunities of, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Yeah, so got eyes on SMCI, got eyes on Boeing, really just kind of the same stocks I've been looking at all day. I've only traded 5 tickers. Those are really, I think, without exception, the only tickers I am still looking at, except for CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike might be added to that roster, but I've been trying to trade less tickers, so we'll see what happens. If it sets up, I will try to take it. Dawson Ulta says Zion Lala before I throw it back there to Sharif. Pardon?
I got that.
Okay, for sure, no worries. How are you doing?
No, I just loaded it up. That's the only reason I want to say I got
sorry.
No worries, because I saw him. All right, so ULTA, great look today, Zion. I mean, it has a great move up from Friday as well. You can see that. Basically, from the lows of the pre-market on Friday to the highs, there was up 8%. So let's put some respect on that one. Ulta's name. Let me give you the details on Ulta Beauty. Obviously, it's a $17 billion company. This is the one that Uncle Warren was selling, right?
He bought.
He bought. That's
almost
right.
700,000 shares.
Mistakes.
For some reason.
This one reported on the 29th. Big drop there. And then Uncle Warren is buying up a storm. It did have some support right there at 330. The better level looks like at 340. Closed out Friday at 353. There is a bit of a consolidation level you can see here on the half-an-hour chart. No question about that. And it's a bit of a range. It's not a level. So it's about that 365 to the downside, essentially, and then 385 to the upside. So about $20 worth of range. We are working our way right into that range we were talking about, the high of the day, 366.47. Then we catch a bit of a sell here down into 364. This is the half-an-hour, Zion. Let's zoom in a little bit more. The 5-minute. All right, what's the high of Friday's price action? Around 361. I think the high was 361.5. The better level, though, in my humble opinion, is 360, off which to base a trade. So if we do, Zion, come into that 360 on ULTA, that's an interesting area to get long. Top to bottom today, I'm not saying it's up on the day, but top to bottom from the pre to the top, we're up 4 2/3. Add to that the 8 and change that we added on Friday. Good look. Volume weighted average price, not really in my purview. It's got to come down to 360, and then we'll see how it acts with the $10 level. But VWAP still at around 358, so a couple of bucks lower than that 360 level. But Ulta, put some respect on this one's name. Definitely catching a bit of a bid there after a bad earnings report. But I want to talk about the trade that I missed here and that I'm very disappointed in myself for not having taken. Look, I haven't done this a lot lately where I like a trade and don't take it. Most of the time I am taking it, but this is one of those times where I am disappointed in myself. That 214. obvious area of support there. I had this one looking up. It broke 214. I was like, this is the right area. You know, that 214 single digits, maybe low double digits in the 10s, 12s, 13s, whatever. And then you've got a big move up there right into 215. So it gave you $1 quickly as you like on TSLA. It's really the only name that's green in Mag 7. In fact, the only name in microchip or, well, SMCI is green as well, up 2%. But, you know, there's not too much green, to be quite honest with you today. So here's the look on TSLA. I really wanted to take this 214 long, nice strength there. Keep your eye out, though, for VWAP. VWAP has acted as a very, very predictable resistance level on the day for Tesla. Maybe that predictability makes it not unusable. Who knows, right? Because the bamboozlement's real and fast and furious on these markets. Nonetheless, 215.62 right now is where the volume weighted average price is hanging out on my Tesla chart. And the reason I say it's been an area of obvious resistance, well, just look at the, you know, the move back in there. We spent a lot of time from 12 o'clock to when we gave up the ghost there at 12:55 trying to break through that VWAP, all of which failed. You don't have even a wick through the volume weighted average price. So staunch of a resistance level has it been. So we'll see if we work our way up into the high 215s, whether that acts as the same thing again. So Tesla, disappointed in myself for not taking that 214 long. But what is the next trade? Well, we just got another breach of the 20 exponential right now on the futures. We're still well below 19.2, but we are trying to hold that 19.125 low. There hasn't been a whole lot to talk about in terms of longs today with microchips, Mag 7, or the market in general. There have been some outliers, notably Tesla and some of these small cap gappers that we've been trading. But right now, catching a bit of a bid on some of these. I'm not trying to say the market's going to recover. I kind of feel a little bit bearish from here on in. But you have the likes of Amazon taking the volume weighted average price nicely there, 176.75. You have Meta trying to work into that 516 level where VWAP is hanging. And by the way, Meta's been putting in higher lows. So that hasn't been the case with a lot of these Mag 7 names. Meta putting in incrementally higher troughs on each successive trough. Looking here for possibly a 516 break and take at the volume weighted average price. That's been an elusive level on Meta today. We haven't touched VWAP since we gave up the ghost at VWAP at 950. Meta was strong. Remember, Meta went green to red. It was one of those ones that started strong, like Tesla, like Softy, and all of them, exception of Tesla, has gone red on the day. So maybe this is a short to pops. I want to shout out Big Spile. He's printing up a storm on the shorts today. Shout out to him. What do you see here, Big Spile? You like these levels? Shout out to Dan the Man Emmons. Nice enough to tell us that he was looking bullish right now or previously on the ES and then basically put his levels up. Said, I got stopped out this and here's my next look. Shout out to Dan the Man Emmons. Being transparent is one of the main things. So, yeah, that's the look right now. I mean, the future is obviously very weak. There are some names that are retracing better than others. But personally, it's a short to pop kind of day for me on some of these Mag 7 names, including the microchips. Where I have had opportunities going long has been exclusively away from the Mag 7 and into these small cap gappers. I'm talking about BOF, I'm talking about CNFR, and some others. So we'll see if we can weasel some trades on these, Adair.
Yeah, we're gonna get into the lesson there. Before we do that, I want to talk about my SPY trade. So maybe this is just in my imagination, but I was watching the SPY book and the SMCI book at the same time, and I noticed they are moving kind of similarly. So you get to move up in the SPY, you get to move down in SMCI. SMCI and the Qs, I was noticing a little bit less consistency, but for whatever reason, S&P 500 and SMCI being little besties here. So with that in mind, I was like, you know, like I said, SMCI, I didn't want to take unless it came into like my specific levels, which were, like I said, I was mostly interested in that area near that 445, 442. But SPY here, I loved that support at 555.50. I tried to go long 555.30, which is an initial area like that thing bumps like 50 pennies. I never got a chance to look. But then here in SPY, we rest. Well, we did. Now I think for the time being, we're trying to break back below here, lower. But I liked it as a long and the 555.70, and I was like wanting to see what we did here on around 556.20. I was risking here into the 555 mid 50s. So let's see what we do here on the S&P 500, trying to hold that level. Why did I like that level to risk? Look at the support resistance flip. It's also a level I liked on the book. And I've said as well, if I'm going to, like, my only SPY playbooks are whole dollar breaks or previous, like, you know, interacting with levels that I've watched on the book and the chart previously. To me, there is some confluence here. I don't know why I'm using there we go. So I was using the 10-minute there, but in the 5-minute, I think you can as well see all of this interaction, I hope, here with that 555, 50s. Couple cents in the money here. Let's see if we can push higher here on the SPY. So risking about 15 pennies here, trying to make minimum, Adara Brain, minimum about 45 to 50. So that is more than a 3-to-1 risk reward. It's one that I can certainly live with. Boeing here as well, get above that 160 area, but not a level that I'm really excited to interact with. So we're going to be taking out 2/3 of this position. Should we get into that pivotal, or in my opinion is pivotal, 556.20. So we're going to get like 556.18. Let's take out 1/3. Let's see what occurs on the SPY train. Beep, beep. Chug, 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 choo, choo. Let's find out what goes on here on this SPY. So I'm going to have the SPY book up, and I will, you know, holla if the thing goes awry. We will get the lesson ready here for you guys.
Yeah, I can take over for
because it's already almost 1:30, so good time for learning. Hope you guys have had a really exciting start to the week, and hope everyone had a great long weekend as well. But all long weekends have to end. Oh, pardon?
Can I shout out a couple of...
Please do.
I want to shout out Dan, the Dang Man Emmons. Cheers for the shout out. I can't win every trade. Dan, don't think that I was implying that. We love your transparency, Dan. Goes on to say, anyone who thinks every trade will be a winner will be humbled. No question about that. Thank you for being honest and putting your levels in the chat. Big smile, Burdette, because I know he's smiling up a storm today, ear to ear, baby. The short man is probably printing up a storm on these markets with the NQ down 2 1/3. Here's what he said. That sudden spike finally trailed me out of my SPX puts. I opened Friday at the close. Shout out to you. I probably just hold out rest of the day unless it really puts on a pump. Man, I don't know. Anything can happen on these here markets, but, doesn't feel like that there's much of a pump coming today, especially the fact that we haven't been able to take 19.2 at all. And here's the look. I mean, we've been down to the right, the hockey stick pattern, the bear flag, whatever you want to call it. We've tried to weasel up into 19.2 multiple times. Each and every time we're met with a wall of sellers, and each and every time we make a new low. So what is there here to hold on to for the longs in these hard markets? I don't see anything yet. We're going to have to put in a different trend with higher highs and higher lows for me to see something different. But it seems like it's just more blood on the NQ, Adara, as we start off a bit of a tough September, no question about that.
Speaking of blood in the NQ and blood in the markets, I did get out of the SPY long as we broke out of that 555.50 area of which I was mentioning earlier. Tried the trade, lost in the trade. Where's the next trade? I don't know, because right now, talking about learning. So get ready to understand some trends as we've talked a lot about seasonal trends today with regards to September generally being a weaker month. Let's look at some other types of trends here. So we're going to introduce some market trends. So the definition here, and I know this, we're going over some stuff because we get people all over here, different levels of experience in these here markets in this here chat. So technical analysis, a trend is basically going to be the general direction in which the market or the asset is moving, and they're classified based on their duration. Understanding the classifications is also crucial for analyzing market behavior. So we've got major trends, intermediate trends, and near-term trends. So here's one example. You've got a minor downtrend. You're in an uptrend, right? That's the larger trend. Then you get a bit of a baby downtrend. Then you push up higher. Then what we get is a little bit of a longer trend to the downside. But then look what we do.
What?
We continue our larger uptrend. There's also here an example of a trading range. Shout out to the Adara Panera ranges, which I have not been trading as much lately. But trading ranges here, it's not a trend. It's just going to be when you've got the price action ping-ponging between a few levels. So shout out to trends. Major trends here, what are those? So a major trend is going to be the dominant trend in the market and often lasts for more than a year. It will represent the longer-term direction. If it's upwards,
it's up and
down,
it's up,
or sideways. It could be up, then it's up, or down, then it's down, or side to side. Shout out to Ariana Grande and Nicki Minaj. Different song there. Let's talk about Dow theory classification. So according to Dow theory, the major trend is going to be effective for longer than a year, but In commodities or futures trades markets, the time frame might be shortened to anything over 6 months due to the shorter time frames those markets operate in. So it's worth noting with regards, shout out to the Dow theory, that sometimes these trend lengths are going to really depend on the overall context of the market, as a lot of things do in these markets. So the long-term investing is what going to be where you're going to be really interested in these major trends, because they can help investors align their investments with the broader market direction. So if you understand the major trend, if you understand what direction you're going in, if that trend still exists, investors can help avoid getting caught in short-term fluctuations and maintain a longer-term perspectivo. Here's an example of a primary trend. You've got these little dips here. The general trend is to the upside on the SPX. Shout out to Big Smile. Burdette was just talking about SPX. Intermediate trends here. So just to go over these, intermediate trends typically going to last from 3 weeks to several months, and it will tend to represent corrections within the major trend, and it reflects the market's temporary movements against the major trend direction. So it's like when you've got a couple little waves there crashing to the downside as the market continues to row its boat to the upside. Characteristics here are going to be, for example, in an upward trend, an upward major trend, you might have an intermediate trend showing a temporary decline or sideways movement, and then the market will correct itself before resuming its upward direction. So there's a little bit of herky-jerky. We talked about Elliott's waves. In general trends are going to have these movements that are a little bit atypical. They're antithetical to the general trend direction.
Bang.
But it just means that we need to have, the trend needs to take a little breather before continuing to do what it's going to do. How does this play a role in this analysis? So intermediate trends are going to be really key for swing traders. Shout out to the NOS boss. I know Brian Shannon does a bit of swing in there as well, who focus on capturing these corrective phases within the major trend. And so by understanding intermediate trends, you can also, if you're a long-term investor, refine your entry and exit points, or maybe areas where you want to trail or you want to take some beak wetters. Those can be huge if you're looking at those trends. So here's the intermediate trend here. You've got the major trend, then your intermediate trend, which I like this example too.
Oh.
Is that it's also a little bit rangier. You got your range, also maybe a little bit bull flaggish perhaps, then you push up higher. Then, you go to the little downside a little bit, but not to fear. You continue bouncing your trend line off the upside. So that's what an intermediate trend is. But what about a near-term trend? Holla at my day traders. So a near-term trend is going to be the shortest trend classification, and it usually lasts less than 2 or 3 weeks. These trends are often going to be more minor fluctuations within the intermediate trend, and they're usually observed in day-to-day market movements. Near-term trends can also be really highly volatile and are often influenced by immediate market news, economic data releases, or some other shorter-term factors. Hence the term near-term. They're going to be a little bit more myopic. They're going to be a little bit nearsighted and shorter-term. So how do you apply these trends? So near-term trends are going to be huge for day traders, as I kind of alluded to, and for short-term traders who aim to capitalize on brief market movements. But long-term investors are likely to consider them noise. That being said, as a long-term investor, it's probably good to know about these, right? Because then you know if this trend, isn't part of the larger trend. If it's a little bit briefer, then you're like, okay, maybe my trend still stands. So I think it's probably an important thing to learn about regardless. So here's your near-term trend. You've got here your primary trend, which is to the upside, then the secondary trend, which would be a bit more intermediate. And in between, we have all these little baby upticks within the secondary trend. So this is interesting because you've got trend within a trend, and they're all kind of fishtailing within one another in opposing ways. That's very interesting. And with that in mind, let's talk about the interaction between trends. So each trend is part. Thank you. Appreciate that. Trenda, would you like to talk about interaction between trends? Yes. Okay, you and Sharif have beef. That's cool. Sure beef. The trend love beef. Beef with Sharif. Anyways, so trends are interconnected, right? Each trend is part of a larger trend. So the intermediate trend is a correction within the major trend, and the near-term trend fluctuates within the intermediate trend. And we talked about this. I think I showed it to Sharif for preparing these lessons. I think this little chart here is a great example of that. But it's important to understand how these trends interact, because it allows traders and investors alike to better predict market movements and to make choices for the type of trading they're trading. So if, again, the larger trend might not be as relevant to you if you're a short-term trader, but if there's certain levels within there that you're seeing these short-term trends manifest, that could be of note, right? So you want to be aware of those and recognize the primary trend to help align trading strategies with that overall direction. Let's as well talk about some of these key takeaways. So major trends here are longer-term, intermediate, going to be more corrections, and the minor trends are going to be fluctuations within the intermediate trade. So basically, it can help to align align your trading strategy with the major trend to have longer term success or shorter term success if you're going to be a bit of a near term trader, right? So good look there. Use intermediate trends to refine entry and exit points, and be cautious of near term trends because they can often represent louder market noise. They can be like, rah, 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 rah. You know what I mean? That can be what the market sound like. And unfortunately, I sounded like that there too. So make sure you're considering your time horizon. Horizon. There you go.
That's like me like 10 minutes ago.
Appreciate that.
Couldn't get it out.
It's all the words are mumble jumbled there, much like the trends interweaving with each other. You want to make sure you're picking a trend that aligns with your goals, understand and analyze trends at different levels to have successful trading and investing. And remember, you only have 12 minutes left to vote. Get into that chat, exclamation point, join, space, $, ticker of your choice, get involved. Let us know in the chat because we want to make sure that we're looking at tickers you guys want to look at. Shout out to audience participation.
I have a question. It's for Ram. Ram, you let us know. I'm about to let you know. She's in my ear saying how can she help? Ram, you let us know like maybe a month ago or something, that you made your first stock investment.
Don't worry about it.
At the time, you refused to tell us which ticker you got into. We're not sure why, right? About what the reason was for you hiding it. May we ask, without knowing the ticker, Ram, how is it doing? How is your portfolio doing, Ram? Well, she said NVIDIA, but I don't believe her.
Oh, I think I know which one it is then.
Ram, we're waiting.
I haven't looked myself.
Which ticker is it, Ram?
I can't tell you.
Ramin, don't show my screen. Ramin, don't show my screen, but is it this one? Because I thought it was this one.
Oh, yeah. Is it that one, Ram? I like how she's putting herself on camera.
I was pretty sure it was this one.
Yeah, it is.
It is? Okay, fine. Okay. Then I won't say anything.
That's why I want to.
Then I'll just keep my mouth shut.
Back to business. Back to business.
Well, you know what? Look, hey, you either win or learn, baby. So shout out to Ram. She hit the buy button. So we're gonna shout her out for that. I know my first stock purchase I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. You know, it was the first time I did it. I had no idea what to expect, lose money, this, that, and the other. So shout out Ram. Big Spile, $2 super chat, baby. He says join chart. That vote will not be registered, Big Kyle. But thank you very much for that super chat. She bought BitConnect, says Thunderbug. I'm willing to guess BitConnect may not have done that well, hence that's why you're suggesting it. So shout out to everybody, guys. We're having a good time over here. The markets are certainly not having a good time, but if you're short, you're very happy with these markets. And shout out to Big Spiled One and everybody else. Now, I had a quick short on Amazon while Adara was doing the lesson of the day. Reason I got short here on Amazon, it breached the volume weighted average price on the 5, but was doing the kind of wick shimmy. I don't want to call it the wick shimmy, but it was topping tail. I felt there was sellers at that volume weighted average price, so I got short. Took 20 quick pennies just like that, and now we're weaseling our way down again here on AMZN. Most notably about this latest VWAP pop here on Amazon is that, yes, this is a topping tail candle here at 1135, but fact of the matter is it's higher than all these 4 candles combined. So technically, even though we spend a little bit more time above the volume weighted average price, from a price action perspective, this area over here is still a lower high than this area over here because we breached it. We got almost into 177. 176 mid-90s. Best we could do over here is 176.90. Anyway, took 20 pennies quick as you like on that, but it is finding this higher low situation. So even though it did fail initially at the breach or the take of VWAP, the higher low situation still in play, no doubt about it. And Amazon, I gotta let's put some respect on Amazon's name. Amazon is the second best performing Mag 7 name after Tesla. Tesla's still up 0.25%. AMZN only down about 1%. So there is, I guess, something to be had.
Oh my God, it's Fabian.
Fabian. What's going on? Oh, there he is. Floating. He's floating like Randy. They both have this, ability to float. I like how he's floating on my Microsoft stock. Can we put Fabian back on my Microsoft chart? Aw, that's okay. Oh, we'll do it next time. Guys, it's been a tough day for the longs on the Mag 7 names, but there have been other stocks that have going long. I want to shout out Adara's Boeing trade. Boeing, I've done very poorly historically on Boeing. I haven't traded it too many times, but every single time I've traded Boeing, I've done poorly. And I want to shout out to Dara because she absolutely had the right idea here. Look at this, hold up, and now you're at VWAP. You would have had exactly your level. I know, it's all good.
Yeah,
so what?
happens,
We move on. Yeah, 161.25 a Dara. Now we're hanging out at Boeing. So good move up here for Boeing. You know, there's lots of things falling today. Thankfully, airplanes aren't one of them on the day, but certainly Boeing stock continuing to fall, continuing to have issues. No question about it. We're going to have to keep an eye. What was the latest headline today in Boeing world?
Oh, they
what
had
was the
like
problem
a
now?
disgusting little, I think it was, I want to say it was Wells Fargo, downgrading, lowering its price target from 185 to, drumroll please, 119. And then also there might be a strike with its machinists.
Oh,
so
nice.
There we go. The machinist may be machinating a strike there. So that was what was going on. Also, yeah, I was in a long, and now I'm not going to be in that long anymore because it did. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, what happened? I was in CrowdStrike, and I basically liked that it was at the time holding the 90 MA and holding previous support. We got below 40s. There was 40 cents here. I was looking to kind of. I was looking 40 cents. I was really just kind of looking for a continued uptrend. I think this is one that I definitely should have planned the risk to reward a skosh better here on this CrowdStrike trade before I CrowdStruck with my entry. But you know what? It's all good. Where's the next trade? I have no idea. But Boeing, my level on Boeing was actually 161, but also 160.95 was another really interesting level for me. If you look where it wicked into, the fact that we're bull flagging at 160.96 or what that area is kind of interest to me. I don't want to definitely rush into anything though, because I dislike the CrowdStrike trade there a little bit in terms of my process for it. We're going to take some time to drink some tea, look at some markets, breathe, and see what else is in store for us. Again, guys, you only have 6 minutes left to vote, so make sure you do that. Exclamation point join, space $, whatever ticker's in the chat. Also, Freddie, the friendly guy in the chat, that's pretty funny. Starliner picking up communications from aliens on their broken radio speaker. We also have Darwin voting for Oh Baby. But here's the thing,
Oh Baby.
Oh baby, oh boy. There's like, you know, maybe too many of those phrases. A little bit upset though that I didn't get long Boeing here at that 160.20. At the time I looked at it, I was like, eh. But then clearly that was the right long. To be clear, 3 trades on this, 1 successful, 2 that were not. And I haven't looked at P&L, so I don't know if I was ended up being up on this name, but I definitely had more shares. I think I had a few more shares in the short, but the short I basically was break even on. The point I'm trying to make is it's about making sure, Neil says this a lot, you could have losing trades, but do your winning trades outnumber your losing trades? I know today they haven't, and that is unfortunate, but you're really trying to grow every single day as a trader and as a person and just keep pushing every day. I'm going to stop giving like weird little platitudes now, but the point is the markets are exciting. They can teach you about yourself. And also, SPCE, if I were, oh my gosh, SMCI, making a lower lows, lower highs, and we're at 442, which is that level I love. Oh God, SMCI, I don't want to do this. I really don't, because I think,
Did you see Kelly Horberg?
Yeah, shout out to Kelly. Join a day. Kelly, unfortunately, we can't do that. That is not how the voting works. But thank you very much
responded to the DM.
for your attempt. Yeah. I know, right? Well, someone was saying, I think it was Kelly Orberg saying too in the chat, you know, it's hard to focus on shareholder value when my heart's broken. And I'm like, you know what, Kelly? You got to keep making sure the planes are, you know, not having things fall off, that we're not using dish soap or whatever. So
yeah, Kelly, you got to get it
Kelly's
together,
got
bro.
enough cut out for him. Kelly, I should be small potatoes. Focus on those planes over there in Seattle. That's what the goal is. But also, Kyle Burdett, here you go.
What is going on here, Big Spile? He's not here. $5 super chat from the spiled one. Sharif, when is Breno gonna let me come up and be your guest host when Adara needs a break? Look, brother, I've been hearing stories about you coming up here for a long time. First, it was the kids with no passport. Now it's Brenda won't let you on. Look, dude, the invite has been on the table. It's been an open invitation, Big Spile. You know the drill. If you're in town, you just message us ahead of time, and then we organize, obviously, for you to come in. And, you know, multiple people have done it before. Obviously, it goes without saying, you're in the vicinity. I'm not even talking about Toronto. You're in the vicinity of the Toronto area. You shoot me a text, because then we're going to have to meet up. And that's just kind of what I expect you, Big Spile. hoping that we can obviously get together IRL. And I know that you're making obvious efforts. And hey, by the way, me and you can chat about guest appearances later. We can organize. You don't actually have to be in the Toronto area for that to all go down. So shout out to Big Spile. Definitely one of the OGs there in the chat. Yeah, Sean's chilling, bro. Sean's got his headphones on. He's looking at his screen. Shout out to Michael Westrick. Saw the Katina Man there from the side screen, from the side camera, I mean. Shout out to him. Yeah, the Katina Man, you know, when he trades, when he's not on the show, he's actually quite stoic. He doesn't talk a whole lot. And that may surprise some people because, you know, he's obviously a very energetic person on the show. But that's not how Sean is IRL. Like, just for anybody who doesn't know Sean, I just want to let you guys know that. All right, I'm in long right now, SOC Adara. And the reason I got into SOC, well, it's up 43% on the day, so it interested me from that perspective. It also had a gnarly level with 24. We saw this one, you know, interacting with that $24 level multiple times, and then it finally took it out as a level. So it came back in to test it again. Now, I may be overstaying my welcome, but I'm trying to take this 24 hold and wet my beak at around the 20 penny, or sorry, the 15 penny area. So we'll see if we can get a print breakdown below the consolidation area in front of 24. That's the end of the trade. We're printing 13s on the ask, 6 on the bid. It's a bit of a spready one. We're going to have to cross 14s, and down we go again into 14. So we'll have to see 24, excuse me. We'll have to see if we defend here. If we don't defend here, I'm Gonzino. It's going to have to hold up at the 10 exponential for me to take this trade. I'm not looking at DCAing into the 20 exponential, which on my 5-minute chart here is at 23.75. That ain't the trade for me. If it manifests into that, I'm going to get stopped out. We're going to get stopped out if it breaks 90, and it looks like it is going to break down. So this was going to be my first loser on the day if we get stopped out here, and that's fine. That's just the way trading is. You got to take losses. I was telling my old man, too. Like, I was talking to my old man about a little project that I have. I'm not going to get into the name of the project because it's kind of my own idea. But the point is, you know, I'm looking at bringing in some stuff from overseas to sell into here. And I was just like, he's like, look, man, you know, what if you lose money? Germs, Rammer. Not drugs or germs, Rammer, go away. So I was telling, and he's like, hey, what if you lose money? I was like, I'm completely at peace with losing money. And that's the kind of mentality you have to have as a trader. If you're not at peace with losing money, this ain't the right profession for you. So yeah, I guess that extends to other part of your life as well. Cause that's, you know, him and I were having that conversation. He's like, what's your exit plan? What if you lose money? It's like, okay, well, you know, I'm going to earmark this money to the project. If it goes to zero, it goes to zero. That's just kind of the look there. And that's kind of how I feel about my Polestar long. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take that to zero. That's fine. It's a smaller position. So that's the look there. Hey, Davis, do you have a chair that big enough for a big tall stud like Big Kyle? We'll get the chair, brother. Don't worry. Big Kyle comes in. He's going to have a chair to sit on. We're not going to sit him on the floor. Don't worry about that. We'll customize the chair, man. We'll do what we need to do it, Dara. It doesn't matter. What's your look over there?
My look is NVIDIA. So basically, I'm in NVIDIA. Some of the chat was like, can we look at NVIDIA, please? And I'm like, yeah, of course. So I saw that, and I also was like, oh, right, Adara, NVIDIA. That was a thing. And I say that was the thing because there was a range on this earlier. I mentioned it. Never played it. Was looking at other things, blah, 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 all that jazz. But then I see NVIDIA break below that 110. And I was like, okay, Adara, this could be a short. So then I added here at when we broke below 110, 109.80, which was kind of, I think you see it better on the 3 minutes. So I'll pull up the 3 minutes to show you guys. But that was to me like a little bit of a break there of that rounded topish little look, right? So I said, cool, we got the rounded top. Add to the position there. I'm going to be getting out. Now I think it would be, because I added this position, it's going to be 40% of the position. I'll be getting out here if we get to 55s. That would be that previous support. So if we get to that area, I would like some smoke to be gotten out there. Then we'll see what happens. What else happens here? I can't believe we only have 9 minutes left of the show, Sharif.
I know.
Time really, really, really does fly. You're no longer able to vote now, unfortunately. But the great news is we have the segment every single day. You can vote again tomorrow for your tickers during the midday. So you can watch Sharif and I make some puns, make some trades, and you can vote for your ticker. How sweet is that? There you go. So nice little audience interaction there. Look at this topping tail candle we got in NVIDIA right now on the 5 minute. Am I biased a little bit because I am in the short bit? I like the topping tail candle. Initially, I was trying to risk here into like 110.20, so just kind of this previous support area. Now that we've added, I'm risking into 110s. The closest we've gotten since I got involved was like 109.93s. So we'll have to see what happens here. Like I said, I've tried to get in the habit of changing my stop as I add. And that's not always going to be effective because there have been times where I've done that and then I've ended up like getting way too conservative. That's how I missed like a $3 winner on Tesla last week. So you have to figure out what works for you. In this case, I'm comfortable with this stop at NVIDIA just because it is a whole dollar break. And since I've been involved, I don't think we've really like gotten our little head peaked back up above 110. So we'll see what happens here. 112 sometimes is where the players dwell. Today they dwell in 110. And let's see if we can get that 110 short popping because right now we're really struggling to break below 109.80. Let's find out. Yeah, I think if we break below, though, that area where I'm first taking my profit, which is 109.50, I think that would be key. And SMCI, I know I said that was the other one I was looking at here. SMCI still does not want to break 442 in any kind of decisive way, and I have no interest chasing this thing to the ground. Shout out to Life Without Grass TV in the chat saying, don't chase people. I don't think you should chase people, and I also don't think you should chase stocks. So, we're trying to do a bid creep here in SMCI. The point I'm trying to make is SMCI, as much as we do have lower highs, we're coming into that pivotal area at 442 that I absolutely love. I have no interest in chasing this. I have no interest in getting involved until I see something I like. I don't really have enough risk to execute this the way that I would want to. And that's my own fault for the SMCI trades earlier. It's all good. We'll see how NVIDIA goes. I do have eyes on some McKee, but I don't want to take it unless I can trade it to its full potential. Don't get to trade everything every single day. You got to figure out what's working here. CrowdStrike still rejecting that 268, so happy I got to that long where I did. How are you doing over here, Sharif? Don't go chasing waterfall, says Lion Talk Live. Yeah, because, some stocks need TLC, and you have to give yourself some TLC by not putting all your risk into everything. Something I'm still trying to learn, I'm going to be honest with you here.
I got stopped out of my SOC trade, so this is the first L we've got on the day. I'm disappointed with this. I thought I had the right read, but that's a look. You take the L and you move on. So this one broke the consolidation area range, moving into $24. So I said, this is not the trade for me. Now, if it comes back into the 20, finds a bid on the 20, it's going to have to go without me because I'm going to have to weasel my way up to the big screen. But I want to shout out Kanye East. I'm not going to read out the message, but it's funny, right? Like, I don't fall at Eddie. I don't care, right? But that's just funny. Big smile, Burdette. LOI, envision Sharif rolling out one of those huge life guard chairs from the beach for me to say, get out of here, bro. Get out of here. You're a joker. Yeah, we're not going to do anything like that. You're going to have a regular chair, and that's just going to be just fine. Shout out to Big Smile, man. Can't wait to have you in the city. Yeah, this is the move here. I mean, I got in at 24 for the hold. It didn't break 24. We gave this 12 pennies, and I'm happy that I got out where I did because it moved down a little bit more into 80s. Now it's setting up for a possible head and shoulders on SOC, which, by the way, trades on the NY exchange, so we'll keep an eye out on that. It did find a bit of a bounce. Funny enough, at the 20, the 5-minute candle there at 150 comes in right into that 20 exponential on the 5, right at that. Sorry, I'm giving you the low. 23.77 was the low there. Now bouncing up into 96. That wasn't my trade, so I'm not going to feel bad about not having this. About 5 minutes left on the show, Adara. So I'm going to just say bye to everybody. I hope everybody had a good day. You had to have been short bias on these Mag 7 names and the overall market to really have a good day. But there were some of these small cap gappers that gave you the long. I'm talking about BOF. I'm talking about ASST, as well as SOC and some others. So I hope everybody continues to have a great day. And Sean O'Neill will take you into that afternoon hour. Get him, Adara.
Thank you. Hopefully they will be got. NVIDIA, every time I'm like, oh, this thing's trying to turn, trying to go long again, NVIDIA's like, oh, well, Adara, like, I can still give you some hope. I don't know. I don't want to be on any hopium today. That is not going to be my thing of choice here. So let's see what happens. I think we could be holding that 109.80s, though. When I say that as someone who's short, to me, like the biggest kind of piece here to kind of sully my conviction in the short would be that hold of 109.80 on the book. That being said, there are these topping tail candles. NVIDIA down a cool 8% on the day. So we'll see what happens. I think there is, generally, if I were to look at the balance of the evidence, one more for good measure. The 109, the short to me still is valid. So we're going to still try to get, I canceled my order for a bit there because I was like, this looks kind of dicey. Still going to get 40% out of here if we get to 55s. So that's going to be the level. Like I said, I only trade on the midday, so we're going to have to basically see, within like 2 minutes of the show ending, we'll be done this trade. But let's see what happens here. If I'm able to get my 55s in NVIDIA and carry out that trade at least somewhat to how I want to, that'd be dope. Thank you so much to Stevenson Etienne for the $4.99 super chat. Trader TV Live is the best stream on YouTube. Shout out to Neil, Sean, Adara, Obi, and Sharif. Thank you guys. I had my first profitable month, I think, in August. Shout out to you, Stevenson Etienne. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. We're really happy to hear you're profitable. We're happy to be here with this community every single day. You know, as Sharif said, we're gonna have I feel amazing how often people will just be honest, open, people have great months, people have bad months, and we're all kind of here together. I think that's one of the experiences of trading is you go through ups and downs, highs and lows, and I, again, feel very blessed that I've always been able to trade as a part of this community. So I want to give a huge shout out to that. Shout out to that super chat and shout out to everybody in this market. You know what else we have going on here, though, is the SPY, in terms of as we kind of wrap up here, a couple minutes left, S&P 500 here, not on the AX. Continuing to push lower into low of days here. Should have been a lot more aware of this. So kind of a similar chip top that we saw a flip resistance here, 550, 550. We're now trying to break below this support we had at 550, 470. New low of day for the S&P 500. So some weakness coming into these, or not coming into these here markets. The weakness has been here. So I don't know what I'm talking about. But every time we think we get a little bit of a reprieve, the markets are like, oh no, we can continue selling off. And we will. Thank you very much. Let's look at the Qs as well here. Down more than 2% to start off the month of September, which, as we've discussed ad nauseum at this point, this month does tend to be generally weak. Wow, the SPY looking very similar here to the Qs. You're not always going to see the futures looking mirrored in this way, but in this case, the future looks pretty grim and very red for both the Qs and for the SPS, or for the SPY here. So great look there. Very interesting time in these markets. We also have, love the SPX, says Freddie, the friendly guy. Yeah, I know there's a lot of different derivatives that will be traded of some of these. That is for sure. See if there's anything else we should be talking about here before we end. You know what? I will talk about SMCI here, and I say that because sometimes you think your level will hit and it just doesn't. I thought a 442 breakdown would be dope. It hasn't hit yet, or at least it's not going to hit while I'm here on the midday. And we had a couple false breakdowns, so it's really, and this one thing I've learned as well, wait for those levels to come in. Too many times I've had this happen. I should be definitely learning my lesson, but just another example of, wait for the levels to hit. Sometimes they won't, but if you wait, then you can attack them with aggression when they do hit. Wow, NVIDIA keeps running away from my profit taker here, which is going to be that 109.56. Let's see what we got. We were cents away. Now we're coming back up here. So let's see if we're able to get filled as we end the midday. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. We got the green screen, guys. See you tomorrow.
Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every day. Neil and Sean, they're locked, they're loaded, they're ready.